been injured in an accident, one thing leads to another. Your injury leads to treatment. Treatment leads to hospital bills. Bills lead to debt. Debt leads to stress. The advocates can help relieve that stress. Having an advocate attorney on your side leads to faster resolutions, fair outcomes, and a peaceful recovery for you. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
Hey, The Monty Show live on only Wednesday. I feel like I've said that every day this week. It is only Monday. It is only Tuesday. It is only Wednesday, September 17th, 2025. Good to be with you. Thanks so much, you guys. Without you guys, we could not do this show. Thank you for being here every day. Thank you for hitting the like button if you're on X. Thanks for giving us a follow. We really appreciate everybody supporting the show. That includes, of course, our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business. And again, as I say every single day on this show, you never pay out of pocket. No, friends, you don't pay the advocates unless and until they win your case. You have nothing to lose. If you think to yourself, man, I got hurt at work today. Do I need an attorney? Larry said he's going to pay me, Monty. Well, let the advocates give you clear, risk-free advice that costs you nothing. You don't have a case, your company, their insurance company, your neighbor's homeowner's insurance with the dog attack thing, they're doing great. Okay, cool. But trust me when I tell you, your insurance company is not working for you. How many times will I say on this show, insurance is a scam? Let the advocates fight for you. Hand them the claims process. Let you get back to the best version of yourself. And again, you only pay the advocates when they win your case. No out-of-pocket costs, no consultation fees, no retainers. At theadvocates.com, make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show. Let's see who's first in today. Welcome to the nightmare. First one in today. Happy 21 times a month day. 21. Can you do something for me? Can you do something for me? Everybody hit the like button. Hello, Mountain Mama. I was asked the other day why I don't serenade Mike Smith every day.
Mike Smith
with Mountain Mama every day. The answer is I have no idea. I don't.
The excuse is copyright claims.
Well, and your wives get upset when I sing because you can't. So I'm here for you, right? Like I'm here for you. Also, oh goodness gracious. It brings me great joy that when I say the A word on the show, that she goes off in the background of your home. And I greatly appreciate that. Alexa, thank my driver. Got me like 4 DMs into the TikTok inbox. Dude, you thanked my driver and he's an asshole. Hey, man, I'm here for you. Donnie. Right? I'm here for you. That's so funny. That I'll say something about Alexa and you guys will be like, damn it, Morty. Sorry, not sorry. Pete Forte, hello. Toot pants. Don't toot in your pants. Can the Big 12 get 2 in the CFP? Hey, anything's possible, but not probable. Truth. Dana Marie, a member for 7 months.
Nice.
Happy hump day, fellas. No pun intended. Dana, always good to see you.
Yeah.
I'm a bad person. Terrell Jericho Beck. My question is, can anyone save Notre Dame from being violated in the rectory? Why choose violence? Why? Why do that to me? No, nobody can save us. And
the device will be used.
Oh, turn it up, Oak State James. Like you want to
yes.
Are you kidding me? The most important part of Notre Dame, the fact that a lot of AP voters, you scumbags who don't watch college football, the fact that AP voters still have Notre Dame ranked, They're not a top 25 team. And you're going to have to, Jake, do not disrespect me, man.
I prayed for moments like that.
Don't make me. The point is, you can't tell me that with the schedule left in front of the beloved, that they even have a chance to be one of the 12 best teams in the country.
Timothy.
What? Don't be condescending. I'm just trying to make the point. That Notre Dame lost the only 2 games of consequence. And what did I tell you would happen? Oh, it's not Marcus's fault. He's in a transition. Well, we played for
we're in a transition.
Oh yeah. I'm watching a Notre Dame podcast that I watch every week. He's in transition to what?
Is the first part.
From national championship caliber team to really not very good team. That's the transition right now. I have no. I think he could kick the nun's dog at Notre Dame, and they'd be like, "Oh, it's okay. He tripped and fell."
Here I am.
I don't. What would he have to do? And
A lot.
before we get into sports, Mr. Preston, how are you? Hope you are well. Big Daddy Magic has sent me just a run of videos.
Present.
Now, I haven't watched any of them. I'm going to warn you.
Do this one more time. All right. Are you ready? Whoa. Set. Good job.
Apparently, Big Daddy Magic has a dog now.
Okay, all right.
No, thanks for that.
Oh, man. Wow. Dude. Wow.
Wolf of Wall Street.
Hey, player. Look at me with my Buffalo Bills jersey.
Yeah, I guess you don't need one for me.
Baseball jersey thing on. That's a Buffalo, by the way. Hey, player. Joe Burrow is out for the year.
Hadn't heard that.
You silly goose. You remember when you said Josh Allen or Joe Burrow are in the cell? Timothy V. Moneymaker, you are a certified silly goose sometimes. I hope the Bears win the next 10 games. Josh Allen is on Amazon on Thursday. You know Amazon Prime, where you were about to try to find me a red Buffalo Bills long sleeve jersey, but don't give me that stuff. Just give me a free Monty Show 3X free thing. But you ought to owe me a Josh Allen jersey because you said if BYU goes 10-2, you buy me multiple jerseys.
I will. Hey, listen, if Big Daddy Magic, I'm not allowed to call him that anymore. He will
Joseph Lee Burrow.
Anybody that thinks that I'm taking Joe Burrow over Josh Allen, I am. And maybe I'm stupid. That you won't be the first. Well, look who decided to show up and do his job today.
Wow.
The King of Thailand makes his triumphant or not so much return. What's up, big boys? Now I'm fat too. Okay, well, we're off to a great start here. Ready to tackle college football? We are. Yeah, Mike. What you talking about? Willis missing the show. Where have you been? People were asking about you. Big Blue Horses. The 12 gets 2 teams in only if the SEC and the Big eats itself in conference play. Hey, man, there's people pay for videos of that stuff online. Texas Tech and Utah, Saturday, 10 a.m. Oh, boy, did some folks on the old YouTube comment machine hate that video. Let me ask you this. Can the loser and the winner, who came both these teams, get into the college football playoff? If does the winner of this game, like they're just going to automatically get in when they win the game, right? Because that seems to be the prevailing theory amongst Big 12 fans. And for me, my feeling is this is just the beginning. This is such a long season, especially for Utah, who I think has an incredibly difficult road ahead of them. You look at the fact that after this game, Texas Tech has a bye week and then goes to Houston. Utah's got Texas Tech, then they go to Morgantown. to take on West Virginia. King of Thailand, have you recovered from your ass kicking yet?
Well, that's why he wasn't here earlier in the week.
So it's at West Virginia, and then bye week on October 4th, Arizona State at BYU, Colorado, Cincinnati at Baylor, K-State at Kansas. Bro, you know how many losses could be on that schedule? I'll continue to maintain this is a must-win for Utah, and I think you're at home. Remember, this line started at 4.5. It is now 3.5. I think a lot of people think Texas Tech is winning this game, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why there's optimism around Texas Tech. I mean, they certainly have the talent, to compete in this game. But I think what's lacking is not talent for Texas Tech, but experience in the coaching staff, and those are the two things that really stand out to me in this game. I mean, this game is not any different than any other game for Kyle Whittingham and Morgan Scalley. And I think that, this coaching staff is just very prepared and very ready to go. And I think, what you're going to see out of this Utah team is a dominant defensive performance. I think, dominating Tech defensively would be, holding them under 20 points. If you can do that, agree. You're most certainly going to win the game. But I think overall, the biggest thing that I would say is that Utah as a team, I just feel like is they're in a good spot. I didn't love the Wyoming game, but the reality is it's Wyoming. Nobody cares about that game because you won the game, in convincing fashion. And so if you come out and win this game, you're off to the races. And frankly, if you can beat Texas Tech, you sure as hell can beat basically anyone else in this conference. And I do think they should be able to beat Texas Tech.
But aren't you happy that, Witt said this week that game wasn't good enough? Like, I think they're all saying the right things, and I vehemently disagree to this hour even. I don't think they got off to a slow start. And Laramie, I think they played really bad football in the first half. And
what's the difference?
I think that the difference, it's not like they just couldn't complete a pass and they were sleepwalking, and then in the third and fourth quarter they came out and dominated. That's not what happened against Wyo. I think you look at the outcome was 31-6. So they dominated the football game. You look at the numbers that the offense was fine. I think when you start looking at things like the passing numbers, they held Wyo to 108 yards passing. You look at penalties. Utah had 10 penalties for 100 yards against Wyoming. Those are mental mistakes. That's not. I just don't feel like it because I'm looking at they made a lot of. It was all self-inflicted. Wyo did very little to make life difficult for Utah. Mm-hmm. And I think when you look at the penalties, you look at the fact that even with 10 penalties and 100 yards, Utah had the ball for 35 and a half minutes. Like they put up 541 total yards. If that's getting off to a slow start, I'm here for it. Right. And I think the other side of the football is the one that you have to ask yourself, because this right here, I think this right here now is a huge talking point coming into this week, because when you look at Baron Morton, who I am a huge fan of, he, in my opinion, has not proven himself to be a big game quarterback.
Now, before, not to interrupt you, but before, because we were talking about this before the show, and I think you have a really good breakdown of this right here. But I think there's sticker shock to this statement. People are going to say, oh, what do you mean, Monty? What do you mean? This is a guy that...
You're just being a hater.
Yeah, like you're being a hater. Like Baron Morton's a gunslinger, great passer, great quarterback. True. What do you mean he's not a big game quarterback, Monty? And before you read off your points here, my main question to Tech fan in this game is, how is it that you think you're going to win this game? Like if I said, hey, well, Texas Tech beat Utah 31-27, and Texas Tech's win in this game was what? That they could pass the football, or maybe that they didn't turn it over. I mean, that's what you would have to do. Typically on the road, you have to pass well to win a big game. So the reality is, before you guys go lighting the world on fire with, hey, this is a bunch of BS. I think that these stats in the lack of performance in big moments somehow has gone under the radar with Baron Morton, but it's there. And I would be concerned.
I think when you look at Baron, and I went back and looked at a lot of his 2023 all 22s. The throws are pretty. The games are incredible. And I think when you start looking at Baron back to 2023, you say to yourself, okay, this was really his first full year as a starter. What were his big games? Well, let's look at his biggest game was probably TCU. Okay, but what about Kansas State, which was a really important game on their schedule? 125 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions. Baylor, at Baylor in Waco, 180 yards, 19 of 26, 180 yards. They win the game 39-14. Okay. Houston, they win the game 49-28. He only throws for 161. Okay. 2023 development year. Let's look at 2024. Their biggest games last year. Let's look at his big numbers. His singular biggest game, Oklahoma State, November 23rd. 53 attempts, 37 completions, 70%. 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. Big number, big game. West Virginia, 28-41, 2 touchdowns. Interception, 359 yards. Those are 2 pretty crappy teams. Well, but then you got to remember also Abilene Christian.
5
touchdowns, 378 yards. 71% completions. Huge game. Okay, what about Arizona State? Won the conference, went to the college football playoff. That's interesting. 24 of 44. 54%, 2 touchdowns, 201 yards. That's an aberration, Monty. Monty, it's an aberration. Nothing to see here. Okay. What about the losses? Baylor, 33 of 49, 286, 3 touchdowns and a pick. Okay. TCU last year, 35-34 in Fort Worth.
Against a mediocre ass defense.
13-22, 137 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, 59%. Okay. So we're starting to see a pattern here. Best teams, worst performances. Worst teams, best performances. Iowa State in Ames, 21 of 40. That's 52.5%. 237, 2 scores, 2 interceptions. This is a guy who plays well. Not great, not unbelievable. He plays good quarterback against good teams. He plays unbelievable quarterback against shitty teams, Oak State. But when he faces elite teams, his performance shrinks.
And yes, I see everybody and their mom commenting that he got hurt against TCU. Yes,
I understand that. I notice that I'm not saying he's the reason they lost. I never said that. What I'm saying is Baron Morton, against the best teams he faces, the numbers he puts on paper, the tape that he puts out, go watch the film. He was not good against TCU. Against the best teams he faces, he does not play well. And that's what's really scary. When a quarterback gets hurt, that doesn't mean that he wasn't healthy before the injury. If you're on the field as a quarterback, you're well enough to play. You get hurt, you're off the field. Totally get it. Right? But it doesn't matter. My point is, when you look at the fact that this is a pure pocket passer, so in your mind right now, how many rushing yards do you think Baron Morton had last year? Just put a number in your head, like Would it surprise you if I told you for the entire season he was minus 22 rushing yards? Not a dual threat. He is a pocket passer. And here's where the rubber meets the road in this conversation. Utah eats those guys for lunch. And when I get into, and again, I will, and I'm happy to have this conversation anytime you guys want, because I'm not telling you Baron. Well, Monty said Baron Morton sucks. Didn't say that. I love Baron Morton. Did not say Baron Morton sucks. What I'm telling you is my concern for Baron Morton against Utah is that he is a pocket passer. And if we even look at an atrocious season for Utah last year, an atrocious season by anybody's measure, right? Like there's no question that absolutely this was 2024 for the Jits was an absolute abomination, right?
Worst season they've had in 5 years, at least.
Look what they did to pocket passers last year. If you look at, again, I'll just go to everybody's favorite Oklahoma State team, because Alan Bowman was not by any stretch of the imagination a mobile quarterback. 16 of 33, 206, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Okay, well, he sucks. They suck. You suck. Okay, totally get it. Totally understand it. So if I go to, I mean, you can pick the game you want. They torture pocket passers, right? And if we go to, I'll even go to a guy like a Jake Retzloff last year. 15 of 33, 219, no touchdowns, no interceptions, and a really controversial ending. Utah lost that game. Jake Retzloff was a pocket passer in that game. He had 8 rushes for minus 22 yards. And BYU barely won that game, right? You look at a guy like by any measure, right? By any measure, we would agree Josh Hoover's a pocket passer.
Certainly.
22 of 41, 263, no scores, no interceptions, QBR of 54, average 6.4 yards a pass. Utah eats pocket passers, dude. You have to be a dual threat. You have to force them. And we see this routinely. Hell, we talked about this with Notre Dame on Monday. If you can't, against a dual threat quarterback, if you can't set an edge, you're dead. If you're playing a dual threat quarterback and you have to think about setting an edge, that slows your pass rush down remarkably. That's what worries me for Texas Tech in this game, is that Baron Morton's a pocket passer. And I think the biggest question in this game, when we look at the defensive line of Texas Tech, can Texas Tech's defensive line live up to the hype of the transfer portal? Because they're going to go up against what some say, including this here journalist,
Morty,
not a journalist. What I think is the best offensive line in the country at Utah. And I'm telling you now that you're going to have to go a hell of a long way when you start looking at this offensive line and you start to really get into what makes that offensive line tick, dude. You're going to have a lot of, with guys like Caleb Lomu, obviously Spencer Fano on the right, like you're going to have to play a hell of a game. And you're not just going to be able to pin your ears back and rush the passer, because I think we all know Devin Dampier will absolutely feast on over aggressive defensive ends.
Yep.
So I think this is going to be a great football game. And again, I hate it's kicking off at 10 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say, Part of me feels like there's a better than 50-50 chance that Utah's defense has a coming out party for those who never watch Utah. Obviously those of us that watch the Big 12 and watch Utah know what that defense is about. But
Yes.
I think, a lot of people just don't have any idea. And yeah, I mean, I do think it's a very real thing in this game that one offense has a statue and pocket passing quarterback, and another offense has a dual threat quarterback that likes to move a lot. Doesn't necessarily absolutely will run and can run and is very capable of running, but looks to pass the ball while moving. And then if there's nothing there, will run. So I just think that the hard part is that I don't see a way for Tech to have an edge in any phases of the game, right? Like if you said, okay, well, hey, does Tech really have an edge defensively? Well, if let's say that their defensive line does live up to the hype of the portal and the NIL and all the investment. All right, well, that Dampier is going to be able to mitigate some of those sacks and get away. And that Dampier is at a minimum going to be able to throw the football away, and they're not going to get as many of those, TFLs as they might against other quarterbacks.
Yeah.
So I think what's difficult is that I have no doubt that Baron Morton's capable of having a big game, but the other side of hey, Baron Morton doesn't have big games against big teams is where, what about the running game? What about the wide receivers? Like, a quarterback has to have something to throw to. And I think that's where I have a lot of concern for Tech is that Baron's going to be there. Baron didn't just disappear, but when you're playing a defense that's disciplined the way Utah is, I don't know, man. I think it's a big ask. Honestly, I do. And the question of the day is, hey, can both of these teams get into the CFP? Can the Big 12 produce two teams from the CFP out of this game? Mark. Yeah. And I think, if the winner of this game goes on to win the conference, hopefully, let's say that Tech loses, right? But then they run the table the rest of the way. And let's say that Utah somehow runs the table and wins the conference. I think then at that point, you're both getting in. I think, undefeated Utah, conference champion, obviously is in. I think at that point, Tech would also be able to get in if they were a one-loss team. But
that's going to take some help, because I think Utah has an impossible schedule. I think, and I believe in the talent on this team. I have been in on back in Dampier all year long, really since that move was announced. I think. And, you talk about last year, you go to some of the lowlights of Utah's year last year. I mean, they essentially had given up the roost the last probably 4 games. This was a very different morale football team the last month of the season. It was over, right? I think probably as soon as they lost the BYU game, that I don't think you ever recovered from that loss.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mark Harlan meltdown, like, I think they an incredible hangover the next week. Like, I think they learned a lot out of who they are last year. I think it would be incredible. I feel like Utah has the edge in this game. And I think my opinion still remains the winner of this game. If you're the Big 12, does the winner of this game, does it help you if the winner of this game wins the conference? I'm going to say it doesn't. I think you want the loser of this game to win the conference, and you want a rematch of this in the conference championship, because that means both of these teams lived up to the hype. And if they both live up to the hype, they're both getting into the college football playoff. And if it is, because I think truthfully, if Colorado and BYU had gone to the conference championship last year instead of ASU, I think they both get in. And it didn't work out that way, obviously. You are in, and maybe this is just my opinion, I think you are in Hail Mary desperation time. If you're the Big 12, you cannot just have your conference champion in. Honest to God, I think the thing that scares me so much is when I look at top to bottom, obviously Iowa State's got to be a big part of this conversation, right? Like I think this league is wide open here today on September 17th. I think the Big 12 is a wide open league. But I'm going to tell you, I think Utah is the best team in the conference. I just don't know that Iowa State has enough firepower offensively to score enough to beat Utah. That's my biggest fear, because I think we all agree, as much as I like to fillet Rocco Becht on this show, I also am a big believer that, in my opinion, I am a big believer that Rocco Becht doesn't have the firepower to win this conference. And if you just go up and down, the standings right now, I mean, you're going to have to probably score 35 points and be able to hold Utah under 30. How many teams in this conference can do that? Right.
I don't think I'm not sure there is one. I mean, I think that's a massive ask. I mean, and I also think it's venue dependent. I mean, that's the other thing in this game is that you're playing this in Salt Lake, and that's a hell of an ask. I mean, I know everyone wants to be like, oh, well, hey, Lubbock's at 3,300 feet and Salt Lake's at 4,500 feet. What's the big deal, Monty? And my main point is that you're playing one of the best defenses in the country, and 9 out of 10 people agree with that. And you're on the road at their place. I just think it's not to say Tech doesn't have a chance, or that maybe Utah makes some mistakes and gives them extra chance. Like, sure, all of those things could happen, but there's really no way to justify an argument that says Tech should win this game or Tech should be fit. There's just no way to justify that.
I think if this game were played in Lubbock, I'd probably be leaning for the Raiders. If this game's in Salt Lake City, and again, I just think when I look at this matchup, and we'll talk about this in depth on Friday.
Yeah.
I don't know how good on the whole, I don't know how good Texas Tech is. They have played quite literally nobody. Which really makes it tough. And I understand with Utah and UCLA, I totally get it. UCLA is not beating anybody right now. You went on the road to Los Angeles and you beat wholesale ass. You dominated. And I think the character of they showed in the second half last weekend in Laramie tells you this team's legit. Arkansas, Pine Bluff, Kent State, and Oregon State is in disarray. Did you guys see that they were asking Bray if he enjoys coaching college football anymore? Does he still want this job? Bill Orm is asking. They have absolutely melted down in Corvallis. That's how bad that team is. And I think it's a big ask. And I know I've said this. You haven't slept in a hotel bed yet. And it's September 17th. You haven't gone on the road yet. You've played 3 pretty bad football teams in Tortillaville. And now you've got to go up to altitude to take on one of the best offensive lines and one of the best defenses in the country.
Good luck.
I think it's a huge ask. It's a huge ask. And I just don't know, like, if you're thinking, it's this kind of comment right here. Where do you, James, you need to back up that 38 points. Because you're going to have to explain where are you getting 38 points? Because what was probably the worst, if I think back to last year, and this is a completely different scheme for the most part, I think different players in different spaces on defense. But if I go, probably the Colorado game when Shedeur chewed up Utah, didn't Shedeur had like 350 yards passing or something like that last year? Outside of that, in the worst season Kyle Whittingham has ever had, I will again ask you, where do you see Texas Tech scoring 38 points? Where does, in what world has Baron Morton gone against an opponent like this anytime, any place in his Texas Tech career? Because I looked at this last night, and I'm telling you, it doesn't exist. Where has Baron Morton gone on the road against an elite defense and put up 38 points? It's never happened. It's never happened. And when I look at Utah last year, do you know how many times they gave up 30 points? How many times last year? How about twice? Colorado got him for 49, and then Iowa State got him for 31. And other than that, the best offense they saw last year was probably either Arizona State or TCU. Arizona State scored 27. TCU put up 13. BYU, prolific offense last year, 22 points. Where are you getting? Baylor last year put up 12 points. I don't understand where you're finding that Texas Tech is going to score 38 points in Salt Lake City. Is Haas Hengy going to start for that team all of a sudden? Okay, that's me being a jerk. It'll be a great game. This will show what the best of the Big 12 looks like. If it's 38-35, that's not showing what the best of the Big 12 looks like.
Yeah.
Because 38-35 means there's no defense on either team. And if that's the case, this conference is in a world of hurt. This conference is in a world of hurt. I don't think that you and this is one of those things where, and Texas Tech fan, I ask you, show me where Baron Morton has ever performed at a 38-point level on the road against an elite defense. It's never happened. It's not one time has it ever happened. And I look at Baron, and I think PFF had him at a 79-7 coming into the season, so call it 80. But he's wildly inconsistent. And I think I've talked about this on the show in the last couple of weeks. Baron Morton is capable of being, what's an elite grade at PFF? 80 is like out of this world. He's capable. I think he's got 6 starts where he's put up an 80 grade from PFF. Do you understand that he's got 5 starts below 60 and all of them are ranked opponents? All of them were ranked opponents. So we can sit here and we can theorize or we can fantasize about Baron Morton. He's never done it on the road against a big-time opponent. And this big-time opponent runs the football. They have a true dual-threat quarterback that breaks your back. Because, let's be honest, if Texas Tech wins this game, you would have to have consistently Utah in 3rd and 7, 8, 9, 3rd and 12, 3rd and 15 on a false start. Like, you'd have to have Utah in 3rd and long, where Dampier can't break your back on a 3rd and 3. Where it's 3rd and 5, you overran the end and he took advantage of a lack of contain. Because that's the only way that you're going to really contain Devin Dampier is consistently having Utah on 3rd and long. They're going to have to be chasing the sticks. We have not seen that from this team in any way, shape, or form this year.
Nope.
And forgive me if I'm wrong, and you guys tell me. He's been a much better thrower than you guys told me he was. Because remember, again, you guys all came in here and you were like, oh, he can't throw the ball, Monty. It's New Mexico. And turns out he can throw the ball at a really high clip.
Dude, James's next comment is even worse.
James's next comment is even worse. Texas Tech has multiple weapons. Morton is going to throw it around the yard, and so will Utah's quarterback. Bro, have you watched, and I'm not trying to be a jerk, have you watched Utah football a single snap this year? The one thing this offense does not do is throw it around the yard. They don't throw it around the yard. That's not who they are. Right? Car Wash Channel, I've got Utah 190-0. That seems likely that Utah's going to score 190 points this weekend.
I mean, I think that's more likely than 38-31 or whatever the hell the prediction was.
Utah going to commit felonies, not penalties. You boys showing out. Are you feeling better now that oh, dude, do your balls ache, Chewy? And I'm just, man, just between you and me, Chewy, are your nuts sore? 5 no-hit innings. He hits a bomb and you get blown out at home. Did you guys see that last night? So I believe, and Chewy, correct me if I'm wrong, yesterday Chewy's like, the Dodgers can't beat anybody. God damn it. Shohei throws 5 no-hit innings. They take him out. He hits a bomb and they lose. So good. So good. So good. King of Thailand, James is now a Texas Tech fan, apparently. Have you guys seen the video that James, and I don't know if James put this on social media. Did you guys see the video that James sent Jake? Did you guys see this? Look at this video. This is Oak State James reaffirming that he is a Chiefs fan.
This is a cover up for one. It's a huge tattoo.
That's okay. I have fun with this, though.
I know, I've been to a lot of tattoos in my life, and artists.
I thought you'd be hairier than that, James. But
yeah, but if I charge you more than $160, it wouldn't go viral. Right?
okay.
No, I mean,
This is why I do what I do.
You're doing what you do is badass.
Yes, because I love to do it.
And I'm sure everybody else pays more than, you know what I mean?
Dallas
Yeah,
Cowboys
up
fan.
sometimes.
Did you get a quote from somebody else?
So James, I'll give you credit. It looks like you're actually a Dallas Cowboys fan.
They're tattoo artists, and they don't touch it.
Oh yeah, he did come in here and tell us.
Are you
that,
going to get
the
this
other
fixed,
day.
or so this is a touch-up, right, James?
They won't touch it.
That's what this is. It's yeah, see, they're going to touch it up. Touch-up. Okay. Wait, what are they doing with this tattoo? What? Oh my God!
Between numbing cream and me and Riley tag teaming you at the same time.
Wow. Numbing cream and tag teaming. Everybody, Oak State James, let's go.
Where is it? Where is it? Let's see.
dude.
It's going to be right here. Yeah, there you go.
He told us he was a Kansas City Chiefs fan. He told us that he Chiefs. He said, "Oh, that's not you. Are you sure?" Oh, I thought that was.
I mean, it's just such a close thing, you know. Like the resemblance is uncanny.
Oh, Jesus. Here's a good trivia question. Who is the first team that Morton played against as a freshman? That'd be Oak State. Oak State sucks. They've sucked for years.
I get that.
Nobody performing against Oak State. It is a level of,
I get it.
you know, James. Okay, what is this now? How is that a bad take? We have heard for 3 weeks that Morton's a good QB. Nobody said he's a bad QB. But again, I'm not the emotional guy. I'm not emotionally invested in the outcome of this game. I am not a fan of either team. I know what Baron Morton is. I've done my homework on Baron. It's a good quarterback who does not perform at his best against the best teams in big games. So the idea that what did you say? They're going to throw it all over the yard? Has Preston Stone done that? He of Crooked Cock? No, he still is not. He's one of the lowest rated quarterbacks in the country. Right? You curse Jake Retzloff into Tulane. Now, you know, Johnny Gonzalez, any chance Dampier pulls a Lagway? Don't think so. Do not think so. Chewy, Oak State James just cursed Baron Morton. I believe he did. Chewy also said Cowboy fans have unpaid child support bills. Wow.
Cashless.
Okay. Cubbies clinched a playoff spot. Yeah, but you still gotta try and get a home game here. You got to get as many games at the confines as you can. So, second prediction on a car wash channel, Utah 90 to 20. Utah wins versus Texas Tech. It could happen. It could happen and stuff. But do you guys see what I'm saying? Like,
oh, dude, we have a new guy here. We have a new guy here. Second from the bottom, Tony Lee. Let's see what this is about.
Why get so upset because someone dares to have? Who's getting upset? We're having fun. Nobody's getting upset. Dares to have a different opinion than you because everyone knows you couldn't be wrong. You sound like a mix of Clemson and LSU coach. What are you, 12 years old? Like, who's getting upset?
Yeah, I'm not sure who's upset, dude.
Okay, you do you. Giggity. I've been away for a while. I'm glad to see James is still bringing terrible takes. Why are you getting upset, Giggity? It is remarkable to me that anytime we disagree with passion on something, why are you getting upset? No, what is this, politics now? We're not getting upset. It's football. Like, there's nothing to get upset with. Bill Benson. Yeah. Will any Big 12 school go undefeated in conference? I don't think so.
No,
I don't think so. I mean, I would find that hard to believe. Again, I think Utah's schedule, as I said a few minutes ago, is just unbelievably difficult. I think Arizona State has Baylor Saturday, and I think that game's in Waco. That's going to be a really tough game to play and win. I think, although Waco is not exactly a great home field advantage, I look at BYU, the Bear Bachmeier problem, but they don't play a conference game until the last weekend of the month at Folsom against Colorado, which seems to be very vulnerable this year. Like, just looking at the best teams, like, is there a team that's got a shot? Because we already know Colorado and K-State have both lost conference games, so they're out. I look at Arizona. I mean, at Iowa State next week, and I think Arizona's on bye this week. That's next weekend as well. That's already a danger game, right? Like, I just think it's going to be really difficult to go undefeated in this conference. I mean, it is, because it's deep. Again, I just think the Big 12, and I don't know what you guys think. I think the Big 12 is as open as we maybe have ever seen it. Right? I mean, it's going to be tough. Marcus E23. What's up, Marcus? I'm a bit worried about BYU and TCU. BYU just doesn't have a quarterback. That's the biggest issue. Bear Bachmeier is just not capable of passing the football at this level. I think TCU's offense is going to be, when it's all said and done, TCU probably has the best offense in the conference. And we're going to get a real good look at it with SMU. Is that game in Dallas or Fort Worth? I think it's in Fort Worth. I should look that up before I say it, because that's the other, that's the other 10 a.m. game. That's the other 11 Central, noon Eastern kickoff. That game's in Fort Worth. Yeah. And TCU's favored by a touchdown. So I don't know. I think when I look at this league, I mean, obviously, I think the Big 12 almost inarguably is the best quarterback league in the country. I think you look at, there's not a lot of great running attacks in this conference. I will agree with that. But I think when you look at the best quarterbacks, they're all on teams with huge question marks. So again, and I think Josh Hoover is a great example. Have we found a defense at TCU? Because if you found a defense, I think that team's going to win a hell of a lot of games. I look at Baron Morton. I don't know that Baron has a defense. I don't know that Baron himself. I think this is a huge moment in time for Baron Morton. I think it is. I think it is such a big game for Baron Morton. And I think if we're talking about Iowa State's got Rocco Beck, one of the best quarterbacks in the country. And I think Iowa State's got the best chance to go undefeated because they just don't have the TCU Iowa State game, I think, is in Ames, and Iowa State just almost never loses at home. Their schedule is Arizona. They're on bye this week because they have to rest up from that Arkansas State game.
Mm-hmm.
They almost lost to Arkansas State. But they're Arizona at Cincinnati at Colorado, BYU, Arizona State at TCU. So that game's in Fort Worth. Kansas at Oak State. I think they have a really good chance outside of TCU. I think they have a chance to go undefeated. I mean,
yeah, we'll see.
You know, I just don't believe that TCU at this point. I think TCU, again, they haven't played anybody. SMU, sadly, SMU is going to be the best team that TCU's played so far because their first 3 games are at North Carolina, Abilene, and then they're on bye. That's not ideal. So, and they've got, and I don't care what anybody says about the Big 12, by the way, K-State's still a tough out. K-State's still a tough out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, you know, Dallas or Fort Worth, same difference. Well, it says Dallas right across our uniform.
With all due respect.
Boy, Fanboy Prime, it's Fort Worth. 11 a.m. at Ammon Carter is going to be hot. Okay. Fort Dallas, Dalworth, Steely. What's up, Steely? Thanks for retweeting the Monty Show. Nebraska, Steve. I expect Iowa State will have only one conference loss. Go Cyclones. I think you're probably right. I don't care who you are or how good you are. It's really tough. Again, Texas Tech's going from playing the Little Sisters of the Poor to Mile High and ass-kicking country. Like, I cannot tell you how difficult the first half will be for Texas Tech this weekend. And I don't think they're getting blown out, but the altitude's a real factor. Dallas County, boy. TCU is fine on defense as long as they stay 4-2-5. When they tried to play 3-3-5, even Abilene, well, we'll see, right?
What the fuck are you, Ranger Rick?
Zebon says Iowa State never loses his home except for last year against you guys. Well, yeah. But they're very good at home. Very good at home. Fanboy says Iowa State shouldn't have scheduled a bye early after the Dublin trip. Should have. Yeah, you're probably right. Real question, can teams add from the portal during the season? No, absolutely not.
No.
I know the rules are going to change soon, but I'm being told that Oak State just added a QB from the portal.
I'm sure your sideline guy gave you that really highly sourced intel.
There's no rule that says you can just suit up for your new team. Truck stop conference, Brady Cook says, Brady, good to see you. Toot Pants, it's easier to name the Big 12 teams that can't win the conference than it is to list those who can. You're probably right. CSG Big 12 reposted the stream. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Iowa State loses on a phantom field goal this season, dude. Don't even start with that. Alumindursky, Arizona seems to have an easier conference schedule. Very much so. But it's Arizona. And I totally get it. Arizona looks significantly better. The Fighting Fafitas are, what are they, 3-0 now? After the K-State game. At Iowa State, Oak State, BYU, at Houston, at Colorado, Kansas, at Cincinnati, Baylor, at Arizona State. I think their most difficult games outside of Iowa State are all at home, which Tucson, again, is another one of those places that's not easy to go. TTU going to need those oxygen tanks. Yeah, they are. They truly are.
We'll see.
It is. And people, I don't think people take me seriously when I say your lungs actually bleed when you come and play Colorado and Utah. Because the air is so thin, you just get really tight chested. It's why a lot of teams try to come in a day early and do cardio to try and break yourself into it. Because it's really difficult to adjust to, man. It is really tough. You get in those first 3-4 possessions on defense, the defensive line is just sucking wind. It is so hard. It's why you see a lot of teams that don't play at altitude come in here and struggle so much in the first half. It just is. It's so difficult, man. But, Eric Wasikowski, I said 8-5 might win the Big 12 this season. No. Dude,
Stick to the Big 10, dude.
Do you have any? Again, if we're going to say ridiculous things, I'm going to ask you to explain it. Like, where do you get 5 losses on Utah's schedule? If we look at Utah, and I think Utah's got one of the more difficult schedules, they've already won 3 games. So where are the 5 losses? Let's say they lose for Texas Tech. They're not losing to West Virginia. Arizona State, they're not going to lose to Arizona State at home. They're going to be significantly better than BYU because I think BYU is going to struggle to score. Colorado's not good this year, and that game's in Salt Lake. Cincinnati's in Salt Lake. So Baylor, let's say that game's in Waco. Okay, let's say they somehow lose that game. That's 2. K-State and Salt Lake City, they're significantly better than K-State. And then Kansas. Where are you getting 5 losses on Utah's schedule? I'm looking at 2 losses because I think they're significantly better than Baylor. Significantly better than Baylor. And I think the only other real danger game is this Texas Tech game. Because West Virginia, I think Arizona State's got a lot of questions to answer. And being 2-1 is a hell of a lot different than being 3-0 when that one loss is Mississippi State. And now you got to go Saturday night. They got to go to Waco, and that's a must-win game for Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot lose that game because their first 4 in the conference are at Baylor, TCU, at Utah, Texas Tech. And Baylor's an interesting one because they have a absolutely cupcake schedule. And they already lost to Auburn and damn near lost to SMU. And now they've got Arizona State at Oak State, K-State at TCU at Cincinnati, UCF, Utah at Arizona and Houston. They've got a cakewalk. They cannot afford to lose just one game. They cannot afford to lose a single game. And if that team's everything you all told me it was, and Dave Aranda's a god who's getting the UCLA job, they should run the table.
Wolf of Wall Street.
They should run the table.
Pretty straightforward.
Gumby says, but it's only 4,000 feet above sea level, Monty.
Yeah, no big deal. No big deal.
I just hiking here. Now, I'm fat. I've lived here 5 years now. 5 years. That I cannot tell you. Just walking up a hill is hard work. Like it is. I get it. I understand people, and Gumby, I think you're probably being sarcastic, but I understand that you guys will say, "Hey, Lubbock's at what is Lubbock?
No big deal.
I think I looked last night. It's 3,200 feet.
Yeah.
Do you understand that Salt Lake City is 1,000 feet above that? 1,000 feet above that.
No, that's nothing you should be worried about. No big deal. Come on, dude.
1,000 feet. They're 4,700 feet. Rice-Eccles Stadium is 4,691 feet. 1,500 feet above where Lubbock is. That's a huge difference. Huge difference. The cure for a lack of oxygen at higher altitudes is being fanned by falling tortillas. Could be.
Right.
Could be. Teams that probably won't win the conference: Oak State, Colorado, K-State. Others, Baylor. I just think Baylor's quality control has been terrible. UCF, Cincinnati,
Houston,
Kansas, Houston, West Virginia, Arizona.
State.
Yeah, Arizona State. They haven't lost a conference game yet.
Yeah, they will, though.
I think it's going to take 2 conference losses to get eliminated because somebody's going to win or somebody's going to lose one conference game. Probably Iowa State. So 3 for Iowa State would be a huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. Huge disappointment. I know. Old Uncle Monty, he's getting senile. I was telling you. It's going to be one of those things where you mark my words, that's going to be very difficult. Yes, they did. Already said it, Greg. Cubs are going to the postseason.
Way to show up, Greg. Nice job.
Now, I'm a little worried about this Cincinnati series because the Cubs are going to be pissed drunk tonight. You know it and I know it. They already look drunk. Aaron Wilson, a member for 29 months. How's America's favorite mailman? Texas Tech 31, Utah 17. That would be amazing. Gumby says fat. Exactly right. I have Baylor losing 3, maybe 4 games this year. What worries you about Baylor is they shouldn't lose a conference game. I mean, their conference schedule. Texas Tech, that game's in Waco. Right? Like it is wild to me. Let me just pull it up real quick. I just want to make sure I don't get this wrong because you guys will lose your mind. Arizona State, I said Texas Tech. Arizona State is in Waco. I would assume the Wolf, who is a 2.5-point favorite in this game, I'd assume, because the Fighting Dillinghams will be ready to fight, I'd assume you'd win by a touchdown. Right? And then you go to Stillwater. You're not losing that game. Baylor's not losing to Oak State. K-State at Baylor, Waco. You're not losing that game. At TCU, just a drive up the freeway. Cincinnati on the road, UCF. You're not losing to Cincinnati or UCF. Utah, at Arizona, Houston. Your toughest games are at home. Right? If you're at McLean, you should not lose to Arizona State, K-State, UCF, Houston, Utah. Admittedly, the TCU game's a huge pitfall. But if you're everybody's All-American, if you are what you said you are, right? I mean, you should win that game. I don't know that you are. Hey, look at that. Toot Pants gives 10 Monty Show memberships. Appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Kale Gundy back on the show. Hey, Coach. Good luck at UCLA. Do you think Florida has seen my application yet? Yeah, I don't think they have, Kale.
No.
I don't think they have. But from what I understand, I have a source who's got a source.
Who happens to be on the sideline most games, from what I hear.
Oak State's going to call you, according to my source's source. I still can't believe, amongst the incredibly interesting things that Oak State James has said on this show, we should call Kale Gundy. And you were serious. Well, I wasn't, Monty. I was drunk on the blood of Christ in the rectory, and I said some things.
And my device may have been activated.
I tripped and fell. And I hit the device, and, I said some things. Delaric, Baylor has the talent to win out, but they have a coach that will lose them games. Totally agree. Greg Hill says, thanks, Toot Pants. Yes, thank you, Toot Pants. Thank you. Kale Gundy, I'm trying to create a bidding war, getting bored staying at home all day. Houston is much better than they were last year. I could see Houston beating Baylor.
Dude,
So I don't disagree. That Houston is better, but they beat Stephen F. Austin, Rice, and Colorado. Colorado could, and the sad thing is, Colorado is going back to Caden Salter. Yeah. And the sad thing is, Staub was 19 of 35. How many of those were dropped, like on-frame drops? I mean, there had to be.
Who is he, Dak?
Dude, there had to be 4 of those were just boom, dropped. It's wild. It is wild to me how bad the Colorado wide receivers were at Houston. Not Houston, it's Houston. Like, I don't know if Houston's better. We'll see. We'll see. Ed Ogeron as UCLA coach would be a left field choice. Cale Gundy's my senior quality control assistant. You know, Car Wash Channel, and Utah has ranked one loudest fans in all of college football. It's a great home field advantage. But, you know, Baron Morton's going to come in and throw it all over the field, and they're going to score 68 points. You know, and Utah won't score any, according to Oak State James. It's going to be a terrible He said it's going to be a terrible, boring football game. It's what he said. He didn't say that. He didn't say that. You know. Yeah. Kale, haven't you been unemployed for the last 2 years? What you been up to?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
A lot of microwave burritos. A lot of microwave burritos. Oh my God. Like, what is Jake, what do you think the worst food in the comment section? What is the worst food that you guys routinely eat? Is there a worse food? And I'm just going to tell you right now, my guy, Kevin. Should I say your last name, Kevin? Probably not. My guy, Kevin, who works at a Big 12 school, is DMing me in hysterics over Oak State James getting a Dallas Cowboy cover-up tattoo.
Dude, play it again, dude. I mean,
he says, my guy says, the only thing more ridiculous than that is that Baron Morton's a big game quarterback who puts up 38 in Salt Lake City. So see, I'm not the only one.
Exclusive footage, you know?
I don't have a rectory. I have a normal office. Are you? No.
What?
No, stop it. So is that where we filmed is that where you guys filmed the tattoo video? Is this in your office?
This is the cover up for one. It's a huge tattoo.
That doesn't look, I agree. This doesn't look like a church rectory.
I've been to a lot of tattoos in my life.
You know, James, like it looks like.
Did anybody else claim?
Yeah, but if I charge you more than $160, it wouldn't go.
You know.
Here's why I do what I do.
You're doing what you do is badass.
Yes, because I love to do it.
James, do you miss the Dallas Cowboy helmet on your back
Yeah,
yet?
they show love sometimes.
Did you get a quote from somebody else?
I mean, she's doing a pretty aggressive shave job. They ain't chafing there, James?
Buddies that are tattoo artists, and they don't touch it.
Oh yeah, he did come in here and tell us that the other day.
That tattoo.
And they wouldn't touch it.
You know.
That's crazy.
And the music.
Between numbing cream and me and Riley tag teaming you at the same time.
Numbing cream and tag teaming you.
James, did they tag team you? Do you need some? You need James. Everybody knows it's not you. Everybody knows.
Right? We know it's part of the bit, dude. It's part of the bit.
Look, you guys, listen, you need to tell people it's not me. The Walmart manager doesn't. She's going to come after me for having.
James, everybody knows it's not you.
You fucking donkey.
It just worked out because you say you're a Dallas Cowboy fan, but
then you say you're a Chiefs fan. But notice the Chiefs fandom has fallen off since Fat Ass forgot how to catch a football at the goal line. Like, where have you been? Where has your fandom of Kermit gone? Just asking for a friend.
Cale Gundy wants you to know that you should have covered that with a portrait of himself. You know,
Fucking Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley portrait would have been amazing. I knew James was all about the smiles and glory holes. Yeah, James, did they tag team you? And that, James, I really like the room. Is that like the room? Like, is that your office? Your office looks, you know, A flag. I mean, James, Giggity say, locked up comment. James, are you saying you filled your rectory with flags? I believe that's what he's saying. I'm almost positive that's what
big flagpole guy.
So wait. Let me and I'm serious about this. What's the worst food you eat on a regular basis? Because Kale Gundy says it's microwave burritos. Jake, what do you think the worst food you eat on the regular is?
Probably like chicken nuggets, I would say. I don't do like microwave burritos or any of that. I mean, I actually really like to cook my food, so I don't really do a lot of like frozen microwave stuff.
People want you to know, James, that it's called a joke.
But Monty, you got to tell people that that's not me.
Wilson on Twitter.
Wilson.
Brother. Monty, let Oak State James know it's called a JOKE. It's a joke. Lighten up. We all know that's not you. That guy's way too thin to be you.
Wow, bro. Wow, dude. Catching absolute strays.
Wow. James catching fat ass strays.
Damn, bro. Holy crap.
That is so bad. That is Oh, it's nothing sacred on this show. Mr. Preston, I eat off the roller all the time. You really?
Big glizzy guy.
CSG Big 12 says Hot Pockets. God, they're so good though.
Yeah.
A Hot Pocket or the chicken bake at Costco? Because Jake, you're a huge chicken
I'm still a
bake
big
guy.
chicken bake guy. Yeah. I have a chicken bake probably once a month right now. Gosh, I mean, I haven't had an OG Hot Pocket in ages.
Chris says, hey, maybe you ought to give James one of those extra Monty Show shirts to cover up that terrible tattoo.
Dilly.
Oh, good. Oh, my God. That is so good. Oh, did we freeze? What did we freeze? Who froze? What happened? See, we can't see it a lot of times. When something goes sideways. FTR.
Oh, okay.
I was at a KC hospital from January 20th to January 22. Was that when you were getting the thing implanted in your thing? I worked near Arrowhead for 2 years. It's called Gayha, please. During the pandemic.
GEH Field. What the hell kind of name is that?
It's Gayha Field. Thank you. I saw over 300 people with COVID. I saw way more than 300 people with COVID. Everybody had COVID except me. I never tested positive. Jake,
coronavirus.
Jake test positive.
No comment.
So Jake was living with not the most mentally stable human being on the planet. And he calls me and he's like, hey man, we just tested positive. And I said, for herpes? You have herpes? No. Relax. It's only COVID.
Earth.
We just tested positive for COVID. And I said to him on the phone, you need to get the hell away from each other. And this girl lost her mind. It was like, he hates me. He wants us to break up.
The Iraq.
Well, I did want you to go to the Iraq. That was better than that apartment that night she tore up. Jake, you ever tested positive for COVID?
Once. Maybe 10 times. I don't know. Once officially.
Oh my God. Yes, James, we know. But here's the thing. Here's the problem. I lived in St. Louis for 3 years. I did a nickel upstate in St. Louis. Never became a Cardinal fan. Never became a Rams fan. Never became a SLU basketball fan. Never became a Wash U basketball fan. How did you get infected with the cheats? You can't be a Cowboy fan and a Chiefs fan. And the fact you got a cover-up tattoo, that's not James. Disclaimer, Oak State James does not have a back tattoo.
Yes, you did.
The
Yes,
fact that you got
did.
a back tattoo, he didn't really get a back tattoo. And that you saw hundreds of people with COVID, didn't we all? I understand it.
Didn't we all? Yes. Yes, sir.
I'm a bad person. And okay. I was fat 2 years ago, but I went from 217. I'm now 180. Read Atomic Habits.
Fat.
It'll change your life. Well, and you get a butt insert, and that'll change your life too, which you
I'm a
have.
carb eating motherfucker.
But you still eat it, but James,
Monty?
you eat at Buc-ee's like 3, 4, 5 times a week. And you drink full sugar soda, I think you told us. You know.
Yeah, please respect my privacy. Next question.
Now homie said Hot Pockets, and it's like, dude. Like, that's crazy. Gas station pizza pockets used to be my jam, and then I started middle school. See what he did. James, it's a joke, just like Okie Light is a football program. Hey, James, you do this to yourself, man. Microwave burritos will put hair on your chest. Jake, you should try it.
Nah, I'm good, dude. I'm good. I'd rather make a real burrito.
What is the worst thing I eat on a regular basis? Because I really am unfun when it comes to food now. I mean, we went to the country's largest bank. Well, actually be the state's largest bank, RC Willey.
Oh, God.
And we got an incredible deal. We went there to buy a headboard. We went and bought an entire bed set. And it's beautiful. It's like blue velvet, and it's beautiful. $100. $100. They were having a massive closeout sale. Got a whole. I have a California King, like a whole ass California King bed. $100. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. That was a really good deal. But what did I also get? Free cookies on Saturdays at RC Willey. So I had a sugar cookie.
Careful.
That's the worst I eat. What did I had Impossible chicken nuggets and a bag of frozen corn today. And I had half a cup of oats for breakfast. Probably won't eat dinner. I took my Zepbound shot last night. And usually the day after, I'm just not, I don't feel great. I didn't sleep well last night. I got a lot going on in my head. So last night was one of those nights where I laid down on time. Just didn't sleep. And man, dude, nobody pisses more than I do.
Dude, hold on. You got to just see what Love's Fan Gabe commented. Second from the bottom. He is going after people, dude.
Hold on. Monty on a roll today, Jay Bird says. I don't know what they do. I have gotten away from soda. Yes, I did follow your advice on that one. My guy. Good job. These are my favorite Monty shows. I'm trying. Monty, be brave and say what the best thing you eat. Honest to God, probably
Costco pot pie.
I haven't had Costco pot pie since last year. I sent you a picture of them. I didn't buy one. Dude, they had...
Dude, you don't eat anything, bro. You literally don't eat anything, dude.
You know that the thing that I enjoy most is probably a burrito bowl at Chipotle. But even that is just... My burrito bowls at Chipotle are carne asada or chicken, brown rice, black beans, and pico. That's it. Like, I don't eat... I'm unfun. Frozen pizza with ranch dressing. Oh, God. Why would you bring that up? Midweek Coug. Do you know how much I like Tostinos?
Tostinos.
Give me a Tostinos, like, pizza roll dipped in ranch.
Where's the Italian?
In the ground. RC Willey, I can't believe it's not Costco. Bro, you walk into RC Willey, you're buying something. Flats with blue cheese. Bite your tongue.
Stop.
Lopes Van Gabe, they didn't freeze. It's your poverty dial-up internet. Wow. Wow. I only eat Buc-ee's once a week, and they do have a salad at Buc-ee's. Those are good for lunch. Okay. You know, that's fine. TJ Beck is in the chat. What do you mean? What happened?
Wow, Johnny, man. Dude, that's just such a great observation.
Yeah. Okay. Red Raiders Baron is Aaron Wilson's favorite pizza. It is.
See, that's like a reference to Red Baron Pizza, but it's Red Raiders Baron.
Mm-hmm.
It all kind of works together.
The thing that Monty enjoys the most, Mrs. Monty, you're not wrong. She smelled so good this morning. Oh my God. My wife, you know, when your wife, like, because we went and worked out this morning, like we got up at 4:30, like dude, whatever. I get up at 4:30.
As you can see, there's not much hope for you left.
We go to the gym. I do a good shoulder workout, you know, like banging 200-pound calf raises, your guy. We get home, I get in the shower, then she gets in the shower. She puts on like this cute outfit of like a Cubs guitar sweatshirt.
Macaque.
It's just like, go to work. You're such a distraction. God damn. The Chad Carter, pizza rolls with ranch. Yes, but I pour buffalo wing sauce on them because I hate my anus. Wow.
Bro. Dude, like, what?
Brother. Okay. Has anyone seen Calford? He was here yesterday. Aaron Wilson says, truly. Okay. I like it. He was here yesterday. Yes, he was. Bren20. Who you got in the Utah Tech game? Who's Utah Tech playing this week? Brother. He means, the University of Utah.
Oh, Utah versus Texas Tech.
Yes. Utah versus Texas Tech. I got Utah, but I don't have a number yet. I'll have a number on Friday. It's
only Wednesday.
It's not going to be 38. Just why I keep saying it's only Wednesday. Dude, it feels like next Friday. Calford was here a few days ago, yesterday. In fact, afternoon delight? No. No. But I'm telling you, my wife got out of the shower this morning and it was like, dude. It's really impossible. Never mind. The Chad, next time, just apply the buffalo sauce directly to your backside. Saves time. Ooh.
Man, spoken like a true expert there, Johnny.
Hugh Janus.
Yeah. I got the Texas Utes over Utah Tech, actually. Okay. The Texas Utes. I like it. It's going to be, I think it is the game of the year. I am super stoked. I don't know. My biggest question is, how real is Texas Tech's defensive line? That I think that is because when I was sitting around looking at this and I said to myself, okay, well, if you're at a 3.5 point number, because this game opened at 4.5 in favor of Utah, you're at a 3.5 point number. And so the question is, how can Texas Tech beat Utah? They can dominate the line of scrimmage. Okay, well, that's probably not possible. Okay, their D line can beat Utah's offensive line. If that happens, there's a chance that Texas Tech could comfortably win this game. Mm-hmm. Because the two things that we don't see Joey McGuire defenses do have edge integrity and consistently get to the quarterback. Is this team going to do that? We'll see. Right? We'll see. I think that they're better than they were last year.
They're better than they were last year, but I don't think there's some great defense. I think they're talented. Like, the line's good, but you know what? Let's see what you do on the road against a really good team. Like, I really do think it's a really good measuring stick game.
Well, I think if you're going to run right through the A gap, you're not going to be productive on the ground. I don't think Utah's doing that. And the thing that worries you is that Malik Murphy, in a really dysfunctional offense, threw for 281 yards. And 2 tutties, now 2 interceptions as well that were terrible interceptions. But David Wells had 6 catches and 103 yards. That's a lot. And again, I think when you start looking at guys on this team and you start asking yourself, like, you know, who are the guys that you really count on? I think a name that you'll need to watch who will have to have a massive football game. If we're assuming that Texas Tech is going to win this game, Romello Height's going to have to be off the charts. He will have to be in the backfield. And to do that, my biggest issue is, I think to do that, you're going to have to be in a position where David Bailey and Romello Height are going to probably have to have career afternoons, because I don't know. And again, maybe this is where the rubber meets the road. I don't know that you can believe that the defensive line is going to have gap integrity and keep contained on a guy that hasn't often been contained in his college career, in Devin Dampier.
Yeah, he's tough to tackle too because he's smaller. So I think that presents challenges without a doubt.
Yeah, I don't know what the answer to that question is, because the secondary is not going to have a lot of interceptions opportunities, because I just don't think that Beck and Dampier are going to give them that opportunity. Why would you? You just need to possess the football in this game, and they probably win.
Yeah, I think that there's an opportunity for Utah to get an interception in this game later in the game. I think if Utah is in control and Tech's coming from behind, obviously that's going to expose, the passing game a little more. You're going to have to push it down the field, try to catch up, so we may see it there. But I think that, look, the thing that I'm looking for out of this Utah defense is really good disguise pre-snap, really good discipline to what your assignment is, and really mixing it up. I think that's the one thing that this year Barron hasn't seen a lot of, is like a defense that not only, like, obviously every defense plays zone versus man, but at the same time, like, there's levels to that game, right? There's levels to, hey, like, we're showing you 7 at the line of scrimmage, before the snap, but only 4 come, or like, there's levels to that and layers to that. And that's where I think, Tech could potentially start getting in trouble against this defense, because Utah likes to do that.
Yeah, I think I just look at the way that, like, what's a really predictable game? Nebraska, Michigan, I think you have every idea how that game's going to play out. Right? I think we all fully understand the ifs and ands in that game. Like, I have no doubt that the Utah Texas Tech game is going to have some unpredictability about it. I think if I look at that game, my big belief in that game is that you're going to really struggle to score. I think 24 points probably wins this game. And if that's the case, if I'm right about that, Utah's going to win this game by a touchdown. Because I think that Behren Morton, and I'm just going to keep going back to Behren Morton. When I look at the tape that I've seen, the notes I've taken on that game, I just don't see Behren Morton performing in a big arena yet. And it's going to happen, in my opinion. I think this year he will break through, because the defense is going to continue to get off the field on third down. It's certainly, this defense is going to be the best defense Barron's ever played behind. And if your defense gets off the field on third down, that just gives a guy like Behren Morton more opportunities in important situations. And I truly believe that he'll have more opportunities. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at Rice Eccles. It's not going to happen at altitude. It's not going to happen in the biggest game of his career, I think. Like, I was going down the list looking at the games Behren Morton's played in. This is the biggest game of Behren Morton's career. That's how important this game is to Texas Tech. And I don't know any other way to look at this game than to say, I think it's, if Behren Morton is his very best and they score 38 points and Behren Morton's, lighting off fireworks every drive, Texas Tech will win this game by 10 points. Mm-hmm. They'll win it going away. I don't see any way that that's happening.
Yeah, I don't either. And that's why I say, like, I don't, like, we were talking earlier about Barron's stats in bigger games. I don't think that's just an indictment on Behren. Not that you were saying that it was, but like, I think what it is that Texas Tech, listen, there's a difference between having a really talented team and beating up on teams that are lesser than you versus having a talented team and being able to go on the road and win a big game. And yeah. And that's what I think this team still has to learn how to do on some level. And I like Joey, and I like what Tech is doing. But, and you're not, I don't think you're getting dominated in this game, but I don't see a game that's super high scoring. I don't see a 38-31 game, man. I see a sub 30 game for both teams. I think that you're looking at like a 27-17 at most, I think, unless unless there are turnovers. Then that
But
throws a wrench in.
and I know this is probably a higher level question, but I mean, do you like what you've seen out of Utah's offense right now? Like so far this season, do you like what you've seen?
Yeah, I mean, I think Utah's offense has been solid. I think Dampier has brought an edge to this offense that Utah hasn't had the luxury of watching and using in quite some time, maybe ever. I mean, Dampier is one of the most mobile quarterbacks this program's had, and I don't know how long. And I think, the article coming out today talking about how Beck consulted with Dampier about where they wanted to go and where he would be open to playing, and those two kind of working together in the offseason to find a good landing spot. Like, it's not a surprise. And I think that the biggest thing for the Utah offense that gets them in trouble is there are a lot of times where he just doesn't have anywhere to go. The receivers aren't open, so he winds up running around a lot and trying to buy time, and that's their biggest struggle, which is where I think Tech potentially has opportunity. If you can play good in the secondary and play good coverage and be disciplined depending on your scheme, and you make Dampier run more than he probably wants to, then I think you're going to make their life a little more difficult. But that's where I say, like, if this game starts and Utah on their first offensive possession goes down the field on you and puts up 7, that can't happen if Tech wants to be in this game for the long haul. I think you've got to hold Utah to 7 points at most, 10 points at most in the first half if you want a legitimate chance at winning this game. And I think your best route to doing that is playing good coverage in the secondary, because that, to me, is the only thing that Utah has struggled with this year. That's what's forced Dampier to run so much, just that guys have been covered and not been available.
Yeah, I think that I like a lot of the numbers I've seen. I like a lot of the way that Utah's really executed when it comes down to it. Like, if you go back and watch the second half of the YO game, they executed at a really high level. And I think that's the thing. The other thing here is that Texas Tech doesn't, I think the right way to say it is Texas Tech does not appear to me to enjoy running the football. It's not what they prefer to do. And I think when I look at the numbers in the Oregon State game, the thing that really worries you, the time of possession was dead even. The thing that really worries you is the total yardage for Oregon State was 284 yards, and they still scored 17 points. They did not put up 300 yards of total offense. Oregon State did not put up 300 yards of total offense. A bad football team. And they still scored 17 points. And they still held the ball for 29 minutes. That really concerns me. And when I look at the other thing in the game that stood out to me, and I wonder what we'll see, the just enormity of penalties that we see out of Texas Tech, even in the Kent State game, 7 for 60 yards. You can't do that against Utah. Like, you look at the numbers, even Arkansas Pine Bluff, Monty, 7 penalties and 60 yards. You can't do that. And that's, again, I'll just continue to say, when we talk about good football teams versus bad football teams, why did Utah struggle in the first half last week? A ton of penalties. Utah had 10 penalties for 100 yards. And a lion's share of that was in the first half. They scored 31 points. They possessed the ball for 35 minutes. That's a sign of a good football team. They were overcoming that, right? But if I go to the UCLA game, because by default that's the best team that they saw, right? Utah had 3 penalties for 15 yards. So they're more disciplined. They put up 492 yards of offense. They're more disciplined. They're better. They execute. They run 286 yards. They own the football for 37 minutes. We're not seeing a commitment to controlling the football at Texas Tech, because that's just not what they want to do. Their best, in my opinion, Texas Tech has to win in a shootout, because that's what they like to do. Control the football, control the clock, limit your exposure through penalties, right? One team does that, Utah. The other does not, Texas Tech. So when we talk about, hey, what do we like in a score in this game, Jake, I think you're exactly right. I don't see either one of these teams scoring 30 points.
Yeah.
Because I think Utah is going to control the clock. They're going to convert. One of the things, and I'm going to say this for the next 3 days. 3rd and what for Utah?
3.
3rd and 3. 3rd and 8. Texas Tech wins the game. 3rd and 3. Utah wins the game. 2nd and 6. 2nd and 5. Utah wins the game. 2nd and 10. Texas Tech wins the game. Because you're putting Utah into situations where they're uncomfortable schematically.
But I think that's a good point about like embracing running the ball. I mean, there's no question. Like, I don't think anyone would deny that a Kyle Whittingham-led team is going to, has always, and is going to continue to run the football. And that's where I think that, you know, Kyle Whittingham-led teams like to establish the run, not just to establish it, but they do it in a way where it's like, all right, we're going to come out and we're going to turn around and we're going to hand it off and we're just going to grind out first downs, right? We're going to have this mentality, not of, hey, we're going to go score a touchdown, but hey, we're going to get, you know, we're going to get 3 to 4 yards per carry. That's our whole mission, right? And we're just going to get first down after first down. And we're going to hold the ball for like 10 minutes at a time. And then once you start to wear down a little bit and that run game opens up to maybe 5 yards a carry, then we're going to start to work in some play action. We'll start to work in some option. You know, we'll take some shots down the field. And that's what I would like to see early in this game. I'd like to see Beck and Dampier work together to run the football effectively. And then once you've established the run, I'd like to see some option to manipulate the linebackers. And once you've done that, then I think you can start throwing it down the field. But under no circumstance do I think it's necessary. You certainly can, but I don't think it's necessary to take shots early in this game. You don't need to do that if you're Utah. What you need to do 100%. Is play your game.
Yeah. And I think Romello Height and David Bailey are huge names to watch in this game. Everybody makes a lot to do of that defensive line. And I agree that when you look at their defensive line, AJ Holmes or, Jaden Cofield, they're going to perform up front, but they're not the guys that get to eat the chicken, right? Mm-hmm. They're the guys making the meal. The linebackers get to eat. And I think that's the sign of a good defensive line, when your linebackers have big numbers. And if you start looking at the backfield, the TFLs, the sacks, who leads Texas Tech in sacks? Romello Height and David Bailey. And it's because the defensive line is doing work. So the question is that because of who they've played? Because they legitimately have not played a real football team. Is that because of who they've played? Or is that because the defensive line is legitimately dominating? Because they have not seen, and you tell me if I'm exaggerating, Texas Tech has not seen an offensive line that is even a quarter as good as Utah's. That's how good Utah's offensive line is. Yeah. And I think when you start looking at some of the numbers and you start understanding that, offensively, Texas Tech's putting up 58 points a game. How real is that? Scored 174 points. How real is that? Arkansas Pine Bluff.
There's no question. There's no question that Utah is the best team they've faced so far. And,
no doubt.
And I also think like there's just so much on the line for Tech in this game with the schedule you have ahead of you. I mean, I respect Kansas. Tech is more than capable of beating Kansas, right? Like, obviously, I like Kenny Dillingham and ASU, but I think we've seen that they're vulnerable this year. K-State, say less. Don't really have to describe that situation.
Say less.
BYU, again, say less. Don't have to describe that situation. They'll be in the game, but you should beat that team. And then you've got UCF and West Virginia. So I don't think, the reason I bring this up is, I don't think that it's an exaggeration to say that this is your season right here. If you win this game, if you're Texas Tech and you find a way to win this game, don't care if it's by 1 point or 20 points. You win the game, you've got a legitimate chance to run the table and go undefeated, win the conference, go to the CFP, do all the things that all your big oil guy donors want you to do. Right? But the reality is, I don't think you're going to win this game. I think you're going to be a one-loss team. Utah's going to be that one loss. And I think there is potentially a chance that you will get exposed in some areas of your game. I think there's a chance that we have some questions about what Barron was looking at, how Utah confused Barron Morton, how that defense, reacted in game. Because I think one of the things no one talks about with Utah's defense is they'll be like, okay, cool, you guys are really trying to run the football and you want to do that against us. Great. What we'll do is we'll come up to the line of scrimmage and show us you can go over the top. Like, prove it, and they'll literally play man across the board with no help and be like, hey, prove it. And they'll just suffocate you with pressure. And so you wind up not even being able to get the ball down the field because you don't have enough time for your guy to run 40 yards down the field. So that's why I say that's my concern.
And again, if you were here earlier in the show, I also said this. Barron Morton is an easy target because he's not mobile, he does not move, and he has struggled against the best teams he has faced. Certainly that struggle is significantly more on the road. So Sean says Arizona State should be able to run against Baylor. You would think so. I expect Arizona State to bounce back. You have the best receiver in the country. I would assume that you're going to be able to figure this out. And when I say figure this out, I think Arizona State's been incredibly disappointing on offense this year. And I look at you only scored 34 on Texas State, and you only scored 24 or 20 in that loss to Mississippi State. And again, I just continue to say, who are you, Sam Levitt, as a quarterback? Are you the 82 yards passing against Mississippi State? Because somebody explained to me how Jordan Tyson got 68 of the 82. Let that sink in. Sam Levitt had 82 yards passing. They total had 82 yards passing against Mississippi State. And Jordan Tyson, who again, I think is the best wide receiver in the country. And I think it's him. And I know Ohio State fans are going to be upset. I think he's just the total package. I think watching a lot of him, bro, he's 6'2", 200. He is, my God. He's averaging 13.1 yards a catch. It's stupid, dude, what he's doing. And it's probably, passe to say, oh, he's the best wide receiver in the country. I haven't seen a guy doing what he's doing. And I understand Julian Sands young, and maybe that's part of it. I'm just telling you that Jordan Tyson is, I think, by far, the best wide receiver in the Big 12, certainly. And I'm not even sure.
Well, yeah, I don't think that's even a hot take. Yeah,
I don't think it's even close. Honest to goodness, I think he's averaging over 100 yards a game now.
The only other guy I'd throw in there would be Ryan Williams at Bama. I think that kid's special.
There's a bunch of good wide receivers, so I should probably bite my tongue a little bit when I say, hey, but what he's doing and the way that he has played, and obviously I've seen a lot of Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith is not having the year that he's having, that Jordan Tyson's having. And he is a phenomenal receiver on a team full of phenomenal receivers.
I don't have, see, for me, like Jeremiah Smith, maybe he doesn't have the stats that Jordan has, but I don't hold that against Jeremiah Smith. I think Jeremiah Smith has shown us who he is. I think that both of these guys are 1 and 1A. I think Ryan Williams is 1C, 1B. I think the body control, the athleticism, but I really do think it's those three guys and everyone else as far as receivers. I think they're just such elite talents that it's really difficult to stop them. But that's where I say, okay, hey, like Arizona State as an example is still trying to figure out what their offense is without Scat. right? Like obviously Texas Tech knows what their offense is and, is basically on a mission to put together the best game of the season right now after you've played absolutely nobody, with all due respect to the three you've played. And that's what I think is difficult is that you have to somehow, some way be like, all right, well, man, like, how are we going to, like, if you're playing Utah's defense, what's the game plan? Like, obviously establish the run, but good luck doing that, dude. Like, you're going to have a really difficult time establishing the run in this game.
Yeah. And you better be able to run after, run after the catch, because when you are, I think that there's a misconception that Texas Tech has all these weapons on offense. I think Baron Morton delivers the football like very few quarterbacks can. But my biggest question is, when I look at why are they unable to run the football? That's the biggest question I have. And I understand, again, they haven't played anybody. You're only averaging, I think as a team, they only average 5.9 yards a game against three really bad football teams. And I get it. I'm not saying that Texas Tech is bad.
No.
I'm not telling you that by any stretch of the imagination. We're talking about matchups, unit to unit, corners to wide receivers, linebackers to running backs, D-line, O-line, quarterbacks and safeties. Like, when you put that whole puzzle together, I don't see a 30-point game for Texas Tech's offense. And I think that's what it's going to take, because as much as I like a lot of the tape that Texas Tech has put out, I don't necessarily believe that a guy like Coy Eakin is going to be able to singularly on his own somehow, some way dominate this game, right? Like I look at their wide receivers, and there is no question that every one of their wide receivers is going to have a career year this year. But what does that really mean? If we're being honest, even like Terrence Carter, who I have waxed poetic about on this show, because I think he is really important to their offense. I think tight ends in this offense, and really every offense in college football now and the NFL, should be huge. He's going to have a career year, because he played for Louisiana. He's going to have a career year, so it's going to look like his numbers are really gaudy, but are they? Right? And I think he's already got 3 touchdowns, which matches his career high. Like, so I would, for all the people, because I was watching On 3 this morning, and they were talking about how this is an explosive offense. And then they started getting into, oh, well, yeah, a lot of these guys are already putting up big numbers because they legitimately have not played a defense yet. So let's talk about that. And let's have a conversation about who they really are, and let's figure out who they are in the second quarter, because I think the first quarter is going to be tough. They'll be a little better in the second quarter. They should come out of the locker room in the third quarter and be a significantly more ready to run football team, I would think. Because this game's going to be a third quarter game. You got to control the middle 8. I'm a huge believer in that philosophy. This is going to be a third quarter game, because somebody's going to take control in the third quarter. And if you are Texas Tech, I think, one, you had better establish the run in this game. And I don't care if you continue to get beat at the line of scrimmage and you're 2 yards here, minus 3 yards there, keep running the football, because you need to snake those linebackers up as much as you can to have that middle in, so that you can run after the catch, because that's what's going to win them the game. They're going to have to find a way to pry those linebackers and safeties down to the line of scrimmage with the idea that they're going to run. Because right now, everybody's talking about how explosive the passing game is. Well, that's great, but Utah doesn't really give that up very often. So I don't know. We'll see. Gabriel Monty, did you hear about ABC is pulling the plug on Jimmy Kimmel? I didn't hear his comments about Charlie Kirk, but it must have been bad. No, not factual. This is the whole There's so many people. This was the Howard Stern thing. Oh, he got canceled. He's too much of a. Okay, so as it turns out, he didn't get canceled. He didn't get canceled. And Jimmy Kimmel didn't get canceled. And everybody wants to be like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel. Come on, man. It is going to be amazing to me. At some point, we'll stop reading like crazy headlines. And there was Nexstar Media, who is a radically conservative media company. And I think now the largest owner of TV stations in the country, is no longer going to carry Jimmy Kimmel's show, I believe it is. So no, he did not get fired. Roche, any Texas Tech fans coming to Salt Lake this weekend? A lot. Screens all day. You're going to need screens all day. If Utah's receivers can't get open with who they have played, who said they haven't gotten open? Who said Utah's receivers haven't gotten open? Because whoever said Utah receivers haven't gotten open, they haven't watched Utah football games. Now, maybe I'm watching a different Utah team than you are, but I'm going to say that when you look at the numbers and you look at Ryan Davis, 10 catches, 91 yards, and 9.1 average, I'm going to say he was open. Dallin Bentley, who I think is one of the most underrated tight ends. I think he's the best tight end in the conference. I don't even mind saying that. Dallin Bentley, 4 for 46, 11.5 yards average. I'm going to say he was open. Hunter Andrews, who, we'll see what Hunter turns into. And I mean, when they give him the football and he's a freshman, I totally get it. I'm going to say he gets open. So is Utah as talented as Texas Tech at the skill positions? They're not. But that's the Devin Dampier effect. You don't need them to be.
Right.
Because he's your best running back. I mean, the biggest issue is, does a guy like Wayshawn Parker for Utah, does he have 50 yards rushing in this game? Does Wayshawn Parker run for 50 yards in this game? It's a huge question. I think it's a huge, huge question because they're going to have to run the ball. They are going to have to run the ball. And Utah, and this is something that I think Beck has done incredibly well coordinating and designing this offense. They don't need a number one running back because they have like 6 of them. And they rotate guys through. I think they had, against Wyo, I think they had like 45 carries by 6 different runners, including Devin Dampier. So everybody was worried about, like, you don't have a number one running back. Well, when you have it by committee, you don't need it. Well, they don't have prolific wide receivers. Well, they did have 27 catches for 230 yards passing and 2 touchdowns, and they average 8.5 yards per reception. So it's all in how you slice the pizza, dude.
Yep.
So it's going to be very interesting to see, because stylistically these offenses are completely different. You have a guy in Baron Morton who's going to be there. He's going to be standing in the pocket. He is going to be standing in the pocket. Devin Dampier is almost never going to be in the pocket. And the thing that Utah, we've really seen, especially against the aggressive defense at UCLA, who I agree is the best defense they've seen, obviously, but Wyoming's not a terrible defense, but we saw UCLA continuously overrun the edge, and Dampier just absolutely made them pay for that. And if you are the linebackers at Texas Tech, how aggressive can you afford to be with your pursuit? Can you miss a gap assignment, especially on the edge? Can you miss your assignment between the hash and the sideline against Dampier? And the answer is absolutely not, because if you do, he's going to kill you.
Yeah.
Right? And what we see routinely out of quarterbacks like Devin Dampier against better defenses, and let's give Texas Tech the benefit of the doubt. I mean, even at a baseline, they're significantly better defensively than they were last year. But again, I think we're going to find out this Saturday morning. If the 2 linebackers are as good as I say they are, They will not overrun the edge. And what I mean by that is, hey, your defensive ends and really their tackles based on their scheme, like that scheme requires the guys who are setting the edge to be disciplined and the linebackers not to overrun that boundary. Because if you get too far outside, Devin Dampier is going to put his foot in the ground and you're going to miss him altogether.
And he's going to have acres of space to run.
You're going to be tackling error. And I think the thing that for me is very interesting when I look at Utah, and I don't put much in the second Cal Poly. I don't put much in.
Yeah.
But the way I watched the Cal Poly game and why I thought it was significant, schematically, I want to see what they showed us. And the thing, and I don't know how many people have watched all of Utah's games. They've shown us the exact same thing offensively in 3 straight games. How much have they changed their game plan for 3 straight games? 0. How much is Jason Beck holding back? How much of the playbook have they not run? How much of the offense? Because that's the advantage that Devin Dampier has. He knows this offense inside and out. He's been with Jason Beck. They've been together. They decided to go to Utah together. I don't know if you guys saw that. Beck went to Devin Dampier and said, hey, I'm getting offers from these schools. Which one would you hit the portal for? And he says, Dampier said, Utah. Which at the end of the day, that's where they both went. Dampier, he knows the entire offense. One of the things that stands out so clearly on the tape of Utah, formation-wise, cluster-wise, even motion, even the movement of the guards. You have not seen much diversity at all. It has been almost the same thing. Looking at Baron Morton, the route combinations for Baron Morton, and let me just make sure I don't speak out of turn. The route combinations for Baron Morton. The route combinations for Baron Morton were completely different in week 1 than they were in week 3. What we saw them run against Arkansas Pine Bluff and what we saw them run against Oregon State. And I think, and what I wrote down was, I think they over-respected Oregon State. I think they thought Oregon State was going to bring a whole lot more to the yard. And so the route combinations that we saw week 1 and week 3 were completely different. The way that Barron attacked Oregon State was pretty basic, though. So my guess is you haven't seen much of whatever new they've installed for Utah. I am guaranteeing you that Texas Tech hasn't run probably 60% of it, would be my guess. Because I think they know what dogs that coaching staff and the analysts at Utah are dogs, dude. They do not sleep. They do not eat. They do not have sex. They don't take showers. They watch tape. And I'm telling you, Joey knows that. And I think Joey McGuire, one of the big leaps, and we'll see if this continues as we get into conference play and they face significantly better opponents. I think it's really interesting that Joey McGuire, you can see the maturation in both the offense and the defense. Now, the defense actually has guys who can defend, which under Joey McGuire is something new. They're way more talented. One of the things I think is very interesting is they're also way more disciplined. Now, the penalty numbers scare you a little bit. They're way more disciplined. And on offense, the communication is significantly better. It is smoother. The substitute, have you guys, and I know we have a lot of Texas Tech fans on the show, the substitution procedure for Texas Tech, I don't know if they completely made it over or I don't know what they did, but the way that the packages are coming in and out on both sides of the football, that operation is so much better this year. It is so much better this year. And so those are a couple of things where I'm saying, hey, you're seeing it. This is much better. Lubbock, I'm from Utah. It's a huge difference. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Look, dude, Utah had an absolute bro. Okay. I don't want to hear from Texas Tech fans that Utah hasn't played anybody. You guys have quite literally scrimmaged for 3 straight weeks. And I'm telling you, it's not necessarily what happens in the game. And I understand a lot of people don't get this. When you say you haven't played anybody, it's not necessarily what happens in the game. It's what you have to do to prepare for that game. Texas Tech has not had to prepare anything during the week for a specific opponent. They've had 20 weeks, I think it is now, of preparation for Utah. Your entire focus, the entire summer, and the entirety of fall camp, and the entirety of this season has been for Utah. Everything you've done, everything you've installed has been for Utah. Utah has had to spend weeks preparing for UCLA, not Cal Poly. And then I'm telling you, the intensity of Utah's preparation for Wyoming was significant, and if you go back and you listen to the interviews leading up to the Wyo game and then the disappointment, they dominated Wyoming. And listen to the post game and listen to how disappointed they were because they put real preparation into that. Texas Tech has had 20 weeks of preparation for Utah. Utah, and I know they've played nobody. Utah has spent weeks preparing for UCLA, who was supposed to be significantly better than we've seen. So what happened? You prepared for UCLA and you beat their ass. You kicked their ass.
Anything happen in UCLA land this week?
Like you have to understand. Just because I think Utah's a better team does not mean I think that Texas Tech is a bad team. But let's get some of your comments in here. Oh, wow. Now it's being reported by CNBC. Jimmy Kimmel's not gone, dude. Lubbock, I'm from Utah. It's a huge difference. Utah has no passing threat. Have you seen a single snap of Utah football? Texas Tech will load the box and Dampier won't make a throw. Okay, so Devin Dampier is not a passing threat. And I know you just got on the show. Tell me the big game on the road that Baron Morton's performed in a high level. Tell me the opponent, a ranked opponent. And you should know, I know the answer to this already because I've looked at this for a significant amount of time. Baron Morton does not have a key opponent on the road, a ranked opponent, where he's gone on the road and performed at a high level. You might want to go back and look at that, number one. So before we start foaming at the mouth that hey, listen, yeah, I got to tell you, this Dampier kid can't throw the ball. Oh, okay. Let's talk about Devin Dampier. Let's talk about Devin Dampier's stats because they've played nobody, right? Let's do it in that light because you're saying they don't have a passing threat. And Texas Tech is going to load the box, which is one of the stupidest game plans you could ever run against Utah. That would be a massive mistake. But here are the numbers. Who would you say by percentage? Who would you say is a better passer percentage-wise? Baron Morton or Devin Dampier? You know the answer. You know the answer. And it's not close. Baron Morton's a 70.4% passer on 81 attempts. Funny, Devin Dampier against significantly better competition is 73% on 89 attempts. Has he thrown in an interception? Who's thrown more interceptions? Well, Baron Morton's got one and Devin Dampier's got none. Well, Monty, that's because, Devin Dampier hasn't played anybody. Who's Texas Tech played? You guys don't run the football, right? You don't. Baron Morton's thrown for 923 yards and 11 touchdowns against significantly better competition. And I would also point out to you, you guys haven't slept in anybody else's beds but your own. Utah's gone to Los Angeles and they've gone to Laramie. So on the road, the guy who can't throw the football, and I'm guessing you just have not watched Utah, which is why you would say something like that. Devin Dampier's got 628 yards, 7 touchdowns. He's averaging 209 yards a game, and his efficiency rating's 158. For a guy who can't throw the football.
Monty, they don't have a passing threat, dude. No passing threat.
If you're trying to make the point that Baron Morton's a better thrower than Devin Dampier, well, yeah, absolutely he is. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the conference. But again, what does it matter when you start looking at these guys and you say to yourself, okay, well, what are the numbers that really matter? Baron Morton has 5 sub-60 game ratings at PFF. 5 sub-60s. They're all against ranked opponents. He's never gone on the road and beaten a ranked opponent. He's never gone on the road and performed at an exceptionally high level against a ranked opponent. And I'm happy to have the conversation about how Texas Tech could win this game. Their defensive line has got to have an absolute monster performance because their linebackers have to eat in this game. But the idea that you believe Tech will load the box, you'll lose by 30 if you load the box on Devin Dampier. You'll get blown out of Salt Lake. You will never even get off the bus. They will keep the bus running if you load the box against Utah because you have no idea who Devin Dampier is as a quarterback. That's one of the most foolish assessments you will ever make. If your belief is, well, we're going to load the box. What are you going to have 9 guys up there? You can't cover a tight end. Do you understand, and I think people don't understand this, do you understand that if you have 7 guys in the box, it's man coverage, and Utah's got the best tight end in the conference? And how long does it take to get a tight end in man coverage the football?
Not long.
Less than 2 seconds. And if you're loading the box, that's assuming that the best offensive line in the country, which Utah, I don't think it's not arguable they're one of the 3 best. They've got the best right tackle and pretty much the best left tackle. You're assuming that if you load the box, you're going to be able to get home. You're assuming if you load the box that your corners can win in man, which they haven't at any time under Joey McGuire. Your man has been not good. Like, just have some humility about it. Like, it's stuff like this that drives me crazy because it tells me,
You're not educated. And you're saying that they can't pass the ball, which is just not true.
Argument. Cal Poly and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Who cares about Cal Poly? I'm talking about UCLA and Wyoming on the road. You haven't left home yet. You haven't even had to put on pants yet. You guys showed up in Texas Tech t-shirts and shorts for, 6 months now? You haven't left home in 6 months. And actually, it's longer than that, since November. You haven't left home since November. And you're talking about Cal Poly. They don't care about Cal Poly. Nobody cares. They went to Los Angeles and they went to Laramie. And I would remind you, Laramie's at higher altitude than Salt Lake City, which is 1,500 feet higher than Lubbock. Like, I can't. And if your belief is that Kent State's on par with Wyoming, I can't. That's not a conversation I can. And no, Oregon State cannot beat UCLA. Oregon
Yeah, I
State.
just think it's
You're trying to make an argument. Do you understand that Oregon State is this close to firing their coach? Do you understand their coach was asked today at his presser if he likes coaching football anymore? You're out of your depth here, Donnie. LMAO, no, Oregon State lost to Fresno State and got killed by Cal. Like, I'm telling you, we can go round and round with this. I don't even care about the team on the field. You guys haven't had to prepare for anybody but Utah for 20 weeks. Like, I'm warning you. You should believe in your team. Yeah, I haven't watched.
There you go. The reliable cop-out take.
Who's the best guy on Utah's defensive line? Oh, you don't know. That's right. You don't know. But it doesn't have to be a thing where. Do you understand that Utah's defense is regularly and routinely the most well-coached, highest performing D-line and secondary pretty much in the country? So I don't know if you're just on red ass mode today, which is fine. Like, you just, this is the stuff this is Oak State James level fuckery that I just can't process that much.
Well, notice there's no why. There's no breakdown. There's no reason. You're just
the
saying
idea
things.
that you believe that Texas Tech's offensive line, and like, I'm looking at Texas Tech's offensive line is 13 points rated, 13 points lower than Utah's offensive line. That is like a fissure I can't even measure. That is a gap that you cannot. Utah's defensive line. Anyway, it's cool, man. The best part is the game. The game don't lie. The game does not lie. And when you look at the way that this Texas Tech team is put together, this is going to be the ultimate test of how quickly you can build a team through the portal. And I thought Josh Pate made a really good point. Is this Colorado going to Oregon last year?
I'm not ready to say that.
2 years ago. And
I think that's harsh.
Josh's point, obviously Texas Tech is more talented and ready, but you have no idea what you're walking into. And I think it's a very interesting argument, because there is no question that your best portal assets were on defense, not offense. And if you look at the numbers, and you look a little bit at how some of this comes out, the biggest question is, can Texas Tech's defensive line play at the high level they've played at the first 3 games of the year against one of the 3 best offensive lines in the country? We're going to find out. We will find out. It's as simple as that. So, hey, you know what? I guess we'll spend the next 2 days talking about how great Texas Tech's offensive line is.
Apparently.
I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that, because I don't think it's great. I think it's a good line. It's not a great line. It is not a great line. But hey, I like just looking at the offensive numbers, the gap offensively between Texas Tech and everybody else in this league speaks volumes about who you guys have played. So I look more at the efficiency numbers, and I look much more at, like what Barron's track record is as a quarterback. The single biggest thing that worries me is Barron Morton doesn't have a big time performance on the road against a ranked team. The exact scenario you're playing in Saturday morning, He does not have that on his resume.
But he does have a bunch of mediocre performances.
And not even mediocre, some really bad performances. Like some really, and we went through them all earlier in the show. He has some really, really bad performances. And it worries you a little bit that you're asking a guy who now is a third-year starter, you're asking a guy to change his stripes. And old dogs generally don't change their stripes. And when we start looking at, again, the Iowa State game is one that really stands out because you won that game on the road, and he was 21 of 40 with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And that's the one where you're like, okay, that was truly a game where they had that, they could have won that game going away. And then the other one was the TCU game, where he was abysmal in that game. And again, he got hurt, man. Okay, great. I totally get that. I'm only judging him by what I saw on the field in that game. And are they significantly better? Not offensively, because they're not going to run the ball. Certainly not at the level that they have previously, because you had one of the best backs in the country. And when we start looking at like Kansas 2 years ago, 19 of 25, 176 yards, no touchdowns, and interception. Texas, where you went to Austin and got your doors blown off, 19 of 36, 88 yards, 3 picks. Like this is what worries me, right? You start and you say, okay, well, let's even look at 2024. Let's look at last year, right? Abilene, he dominated Abilene. Dominates Abilene.
As he should.
And what happens when you went to Washington State? The very next week, you go to Washington State, 37-16, you lose. Comes back, right, against North Texas, and you win 66-21. Awesome, everybody's happy. Well, what happened against Arizona State the week after that? 30-22, he goes 24 of 44, 201, 2 touchdowns. You win 30-22. Right? Like the story is being told. The story is being told. This would be the biggest win of his career. I think it's the single biggest game of Baron Morton's football life.
Totally agree.
I think it is the single biggest game of his life. And for me, I think the proving ground, generally as a quarterback, you either explode and you take off into the galaxy, or you come to a hard stop. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that it's a measuring stick game any way you look at it, man. And I think it's Texas Tech's game of the year. I think that obviously to this point it's Utah's game of the year, but I think they have other stuff on their schedule potentially down the line if they can win this game. So we have time to we'll cover this more.
Yeah, we'll see. I think it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out and what it all looks like. But, Gabriel, who's been a member for 11 months. Utah is ranked 16 for a reason. They're legit. Yeah. I think Texas Tech's legit.
Yeah, Texas Tech 17.
I just think the matchups don't favor Texas Tech. Again, the ridiculousness of loading the box against this offense would just be a death sentence. That makes no sense whatsoever. Kreger's for $2. Utah is only in the AP top 25 for name of the team, period.
What does that even mean?
What does that even mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Like you're saying they're only ranked because they have a nice name?
Because
what do you mean, dude?
Named after the state of Utah? What does that mean?
Yeah, I don't get that.
I don't know what that is. It's hard to get a win at RES. It is. Rice-Eccles is a great home field advantage. You could say the same about half the teams in the top 25. Yeah, I don't know what it means. I have no idea what that means.
Yeah, I don't get what that means, man.
It's history. they had one of the worst years ever last year. What do you mean their history?
Yeah.
Like, why are we not willing to give Utah the credit they deserve? Why are we unwilling? Why are we unwilling to say they're off to a fantastic start with a completely new offensive system? New quarterback, new coordinator, the whole 9 yards. Why are we unwilling to say that they're off to a really good start and they deserve to be ranked?
I mean, you want to talk about Notre Dame being in the AP based on name, that's a different thing, but it's just not applicable to Utah.
And the idea that somehow they're in the top 25 because Utah's got a huge name or brand or reputation. They couldn't score points last year, man. That you guys are going so far out of your way to knock down Utah. And it's just a guess, because if you had seen Utah, you wouldn't say things like stack the box and they're only ranked because of their name. This team's legitimately good. This defense is legitimately good. Hey, you want to say that the offense can't? Okay, cool. The offense, I think the offense feeds on you saying stuff like that. But the idea that they're ranked because of their reputation, their name or brand or whatever it is, that's outrageous. That is wild to me. Like I've heard some stuff on this show today that Baron Morton's going to throw the ball all over the field and they're going to score 38 points. Okay. Hey man, I wouldn't want to bet my living on Texas Tech scoring 38 points, right? Like I wouldn't want to do that, or that. Anyway, you guys, do you want to take that back, Kreggers, or whoever said that? Take that back. I hope Big 12 is ranked high. I just think there are too many underrated in the Big 12. I don't think they've earned that.
Yeah, I don't think they're underrated. I think they're garbage, dude. Like, their teams are not good enough to be in the CFP. Yeah. That's the problem. They're not underrated. Underrated would be, hey, they should be, but they're not, so they're underrated. No, it's not that they're underrated. It's that they're not good at football right now.
I would agree. And I just think that's crazy. But okay, that's cool. I mean, it's like the offensive line comment. You guys Texas Tech has played nobody. You've given up 2 sacks. Utah has played UCLA and Wyoming on the road. They've given up 2 sacks. You can't. They've given up 2 sacks and 5 yards on those sacks. Like it's inexplicable that Texas Tech fan does not respect Utah, because that's going to be. You walk in there with and you underappreciate, that's going to hurt. I'm telling you. And again, Utah prides itself on defense. Like, come on now. What they do, that's what I'm saying, right? Total paper tiger program. Totally. Brent 2, Utah haters out in full force today. But we've talked about this ad nauseum. In this conference, you're seeing that Utah is not well liked. I mean, there's just no, it's crazy to me how little respect is being shown to Utah here. That's what I'm just like.
They haven't earned that, man. They haven't earned that in this conference yet. And this game would go a long way to earning that respect, because I know what Utah is and you know what Utah is, but I don't think 9 out of 10 people know what Utah is.
Yeah. Well, we'll see, man. Like it's cool. Like, it's going to be interesting. It is going to be interesting, and it all comes out on the field. Who has a bigger NIL deal at Texas Tech, Morton or Canada?
I'd have to look. I'm not sure.
Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. One man's underrated is another Jake's trash. There you go.
Facts.
Tech fans are delusional because it's the first time they've had high expectations and hype in a long time. Well, certainly under Joey, right? I mean, there's no doubt about that. So, NCAA eliminates spring portal. Well, that was done a month ago. The vote was today. They're going to a single portal. December's a dead period, as we've talked about. So, if we are going rankings, BYU is number one defense. God, I think it's piss off Monty Day. Yeah. Okay. BYU's defense. You can roll with that. That's fine. I'm not a Utah hater. I think their quarterback has a lot of potential. I just think Tech is a little bit better. Based on what?
Yeah. See, that's the thing. So,
when you say that, based on what?
Yeah. What's the reason?
What is, what is, give me a reason for that. What is your thought process in that? I think the disrespect towards Utah is holdover from last season when the pundits said they would easily steamroll the Big 12. I don't know about easily, and crown them champs before the season began. Not well, like they're hated. They are probably not respected, but they are not happy to be in the conference today. Well, and I don't know that that's true. I don't know that that's true. I think, listen, the portal thing, because I see a lot of you guys, the portal thing was decided, I think, a month ago.
Yeah, this was just more of a
procedural vote.
Just rubber stamp it, basically.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
And
I just think that people love to hate on Utah, and it just is what it is. And a lot of you are going to have a bad day when they're in the conversation towards the end of the year. So,
yeah, I think that's very interesting. But listen, I think this is a huge moment in time for Baron Morton, because I think when you look at the way that this game is going to impact the long-term picture, the long-term health of this league, dude, I think it is so important that you find a way for Baron Morton to have a big game here.
Well, I don't think there's any question it would be better for the Big 12 if Texas Tech won this game, right? I mean, the Big 12 needs the state of Texas to actually produce some results. And, I think out of any of the teams in the state of Texas, Texas Tech is in my opinion, the biggest nameplate the Big 12 has. And I respect TCU, I respect Baylor, but, Texas Tech really should be the team that pushes to get to the CFP this year. And again, just looking at their schedule, this is that game, right? This is the game where it's like, hey, if Joey and company are serious, they're going to win this game. But I just think that this is the game where you got to prove that.
Yeah, totally agree. I think it is. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see, man. Let's see. Who else? The Big 12 sucks. Thanks, Paxton. Where's James? We need to cheer up Monty. No, you don't. Z-Bound 007. Iowa State last year ranked opponent on the road, and he was fucking terrible.
Yeah.
He was not good in that game. We talked about that game earlier. If Taj Brooks doesn't, especially on that last drive.
Yeah, bro, I hope your comments I hope you're not trying to sit here and say that somehow Barron had a great game in that game, because he didn't.
He did not.
He didn't. His ass got bailed out by the running game, and they were,
Taj Brooks ran for like 120 yards, averaged 6 yards a carry. I mean, carried him on that last drive. Come on, man. Come on. It is, yeah. Morton is a gunslinger and a really good QB. He's a big part of a long line of good QBs at Tech.
Hold on.
He's not even in the conversation with guys like Kingsbury. And how do you not
have Buddy, dude? Are you serious?
James, you make
Dude, come on now, James. Dude.
Patrick Roybal. I don't get it either. Do these people not realize how awesome the Holy War is now that we get it again? And yeah, it is. I'm so amazed. I am so amazed at how, yeah, it's fine. Utah should be in the running all season, no matter the outcome Saturday. Well, you got to win games.
I don't know that I agree with that, dude.
I think the biggest problem for Utah is their schedule is very, very difficult. They have a very difficult conference schedule. So, it's odd. Damian Fowler, I think it would look better if an original Big 12 team wins the conference, just my opinion. But Oak State is that team, and they're not.
I have to say, I remember talking about Utah's schedule or before the season started, and at that time we agreed that it was difficult. But looking at it, like I'm not so sure it's as difficult as it once was, because you only really have like what's their most difficult matchup? Baylor at this point. I mean, you've got the rest of the way. It's West Virginia, ASU, BYU, Colorado, Cincinnati, and then you finish with Baylor, K-State, and Kansas. I mean, some of these teams. K-State was supposed to be good and has absolutely flopped.
I think you have to go to West Virginia next weekend, which is going to be very difficult. Arizona State's very good. BYU is a rivalry game. They don't have a quarterback, but BYU is a rivalry game.
But it is at BYU.
Yep. Colorado's at home. Cincinnati's at home. At Baylor, again, the Wolf. Baylor should always be a tough out at McLean.
There's revenge in that game, I'm telling you.
K-State, I don't know. I have no idea what K-State's going to be by the end of the year. I would hope better than they are now. And then you got to go to Kansas, which is never a pleasure cruise. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we will see. I don't know. The formula for beating Texas Tech is to run the ball, control the clock, and then play action pass. If Utah can do that, they could win. That's what Utah is. That's exactly what you
see.
That's
you guys
the kind of thing not watch Utah football.
No, they don't. No, they don't. They don't watch Utah football. No,
That's
they
wild.
don't.
It's
don't
wild to me.
No,
that's crazy. That is.
And listen, I do want to say I understand why people hate on Utah. I get it. There was all this hype last year. They flopped. Totally get it, dude. But you need to understand that this is not the team from last year. Like, this is a very different team than last year's team. So we'll see. We've spent the whole show talking about it. Probably should,
Yeah, probably too much, frankly. Because that, again, we're 27 minutes left and we're not going to wind up getting to the NFL, which sucks. Couple more. Is the Holy War that big of a rivalry?
See, again, you just ratioed the absolute hell out of yourself.
You did. Roche, Utah will be serving Texas Tech some dry dog. We'll see. We'll see. I just, man, I want this season to end already. Whatever the outcome, I just want Gundy gone. Unfortunately, I think he stays with 9.
Should be gone already, dude. Should be gone already.
I don't think there's any way he keeps his job.
Dude should be gone already.
I don't.
I'm a man.
Utah is far better than Baylor, and Utah will beat KU by 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I think that's a long way away. Yeah, it's a long way away. Long way away. We should beat Kansas, but we always drop a stupid game. Kansas and Colorado are always difficult games for Utah. Always. I mean, are you kidding me? The Holy War is top 2 game in the conference every year, and it's not 2. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah, I would contend that it's not even a quality of football conversation, but the vitriol in that matchup, dude, I would say is, I mean, it's right up there with any rivalry, man. Like, those people are pissed at each other, man. Like, it's, yeah.
Yeah, I just don't know. I don't even know how. It's fine. I don't know how people are making comments like, oh, Baron Morton's going to throw it all over Rice-Eccles State. Okay. That's fine. Let's see. Monty, who looks like a national championship contender so far? Ohio State. I mean, if you look at in the grand scheme of things, I mean, how many, like, you look at Ohio State and Georgia, those are the only 2 teams. And I now put LSU as a distant third. Those are the only two teams that have looked capable of beating anybody they play. Georgia going to Rocky Top and winning that game like that, and Gunnar Stockton throwing the football the way he did, that's unbelievable. Are there good teams? Yes. LSU's a good team. Miami's a good team. Tennessee's a good team. I think Texas is painfully disappointing at this point. Notre Dame. I mean, there's more disappointments. K-State. Alabama losing that game, although ESPN's FBI has them as the number one team in the SEC. I look at Tennessee being ranked 15th is surprising. I don't know how good. I don't know how good Illinois is. We're going to find out. I think Illinois has to go to Indiana and win. I think it is not negotiable. If you want to be, because Illinois is talking about how nobody respects them. Okay, well, you take respect. It's very rarely earned or given when it's earned. It's taken. And Illinois, if Illinois wins in Bloomington this weekend, you could see them as a top 5 team. I think they have that much respect because Texas is playing Sam Houston and Arch has looked like ass. And he's finally saying the right things now. Like, hey, I need to run the offense as it's designed. Now, I'm sure they listened to the Monty Show, but what did I tell you on Monday? He's not running the offense as designed. I tweeted a bunch of video about it and just rewatching all of his snaps. The Ohio State game, the first 2 quarters, he did not run those. He did not throw those routes the way they were designed. I mean, throwing the ball back to the middle of the field off your back foot while you're getting thrown out of bounds. How's that going to end up?
Not good.
Intercepted. Arch Manning's been a huge disappointment. Does that mean their season's over? Not by a stretch. He has been terrible. Texas is one of the biggest disappointments this year right now.
No doubt. I think that we're going to find out what Oklahoma is really about against Auburn. I think that has potential to be one of the best games of the year.
Yeah, and I think, again, Oregon gets a chance to go knuckle deep coming up in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
But I think like we can expect Oregon to be in the CFP. They got to prove they can win ball games in the CFP. Like I love Dan, obviously, you know that, but there's no question you can't get away from the Ohio State game last year. Like there's no getting away from that, dude.
Well, but the hard part is the knuckle deep boys at Happy Ending Valley don't play anybody for long stretches. Like you're going to play Oregon at UCLA, Northwestern at Iowa, and then 5 weeks later you're going to the shoe. And then home for Indiana, at Michigan State, Nebraska, at Rutgers. I mean, how is Epstein Island not in the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, that's got to be one of the easiest schedules in the country. You know, like I think it is really difficult to look at that. Yeah, Cal does. We talked about it yesterday. You know, like Sagapulatelli is. I mean, that was a performance the other night. And I think the biggest difference at Cal is you have a quarterback and you have a coaching staff in place to support that offense. And again, if you're watching your team this week, and I probably shouldn't because I'm a Notre Dame and a Bears fan, I shouldn't watch football. Are your offenses tailored to the strengths of your quarterback? The best teams in the country tailor their offenses to the strength of their quarterback. And college, NFL, you can see it across the country. Cal is tailored an offense to his strengths. That's why they're winning. Kreger's for $5. Odds of the Big 12 winning a college football playoff, 0 right now. Because they're not, nobody's on par with, nobody in the Big 12 can compete with the top half, in my opinion, can compete with the top half of the SEC.
Well, and I think if you look at the AP, like I think you can see the clear delineation between the, the top probably, 8 teams probably. I mean, like, okay, Texas is at 8. After that, you have this calling it a drop off is rough, but like you clearly have this line in the sand of like, hey, these are the top 8 teams that are the best teams in the country. And then you've got this group, this collection of teams that, are competitive. Like I think Tennessee at 15 is incredibly disrespectful. I would take Tennessee.
I think Bama at 14.
Damn it, 14 is disrespectful. I think
Simpson showed you that he is capable of operating.
Yeah.
So, and I understand that's a terrible loss. To lose 31-17 at Florida State, but to come out and absolutely boat race Wisco like that, and to have, I think that was one of the moments that nobody talked about. Ty Simpson, do you guys, it's not even the yardage and the touchdowns I care about. Like 382 and 4 touchdowns, beautiful, gaudy, excellent. 24-29, and he averaged 13.2 yards, and he had multiple throws, multiple passes rated in the upper 80s, which is huge. And I would also remind you, he had 25 yards rushing, and Ryan Williams had 5 catches and 165 yards.
And made a couple of dudes look silly.
And that's exactly what that team needed. But how many teams on this list are overrated? I have no idea what knuckle deep is because they haven't played anybody, and they won't. Miami's not the 4th best team in the country. They're not. I'm telling you, Notre Dame got exposed. Miami made plays. But again, I think Miami's a really good example of this.
Yeah.
When do we learn if Miami's a good football team or not?
This week.
I think Florida's interesting.
Florida's good enough. They should beat Florida, but Florida's good enough.
I think we don't find out until they go to Tallahassee. That's when we find out. Because that game is after a bye week. So they're going to play Florida, bye week, Florida State on the road. If they beat Florida and Florida State, I'm a buyer. I'll be all in.
Here's my problem with Miami at 4. Clearly they're a top 25 team, clearly. But the issue I have is there's no way you can make an argument for Miami to be ahead of the top 7, certainly. I mean, you can make a case with Texas and struggles Arch is having. Obviously, you can make a case against the Fighting Illini.
Yeah.
But the problem you run into is that if I said, okay, well, hey, if Miami goes up against Bama, what does that look like? I think that's a really tight game. Really tight game actually. If Miami goes up against Georgia, I'm taking Georgia, right? I just sit there and I say, like, dude, like the other problem I have is Iowa State at 12. Like, I think that's a little generous for Iowa State when you've got Utah and Tech at 16 and 17. Yeah. The difference between those 3 is not that much, in my opinion.
Hey, look, our Penn State guy's back. Oregon will come to our place, whiteout time. We are child sex predators. That's exactly right. Yeah, and Cal does have Ron Rivera. I'd remind you, Joe Paterno knew in the late 70s. Yeah, exactly right. Okay, go back to oblivion. And Ron Rivera is your GM. I think Cal is, it's not all on Wilcox anymore. And I think that's a big deal. I would love to see Texas Tech in the college football playoff. That would be awesome. There is a bit of a rivalry there. No, there's not.
No, there's not.
There is not at all in any way, shape, or form. And
like you want to be like, oh, well, it's Lubbock and Austin. Okay, cool. But the problem is that Texas has been beating the absolute piss out of you for like 10 years before they left for a superior conference. And you're sitting here trying to be the guy in your own conference. And I'm not even sure that we can say that yet.
Barry wants to know.
Oh, God.
My guy, Barry. Welcome back. Sorry, it's been a long summer. I'm just curious, how many of your guys are in rehab for methamphetamine and hallucinogens? What is this, the ayahuasca hour on the show?
Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
I mean, you're not wrong, bro.
Not wrong.
You are not wrong.
You can watch the Bears this weekend. It'll be a shootout against how Dallas rides the D. I think anybody
Is it possible that they could ride the D?
Anybody that thinks that the Dallas offense isn't absolutely going to just be orgasmic against an awful Chicago Bears defense. And I think that game's in Chicago. Late game. Nah, bro. I don't even want to talk about it. The Bears defense, and everybody is just so Caleb sucks. Okay. He's not a top 5 problem on this team.
Well, you know what the old saying is, right? It's me when we lose and it's them when we win. I mean, that's how it's working for Caleb right now.
Yeah. Wow, look at Calford, 20 Monty Show memberships. Appreciate it very much. Thank you, sir. Thank you. May I have another? Let's see. Who else? The Jerry drop will never get old. No, it won't. No, it won't. Iowa State has a good resume, but they barely beat Arkansas State. Letdown game, I would say. The Bears have Roma Dunze, and that's about it. Well, it's not even that. We have a fantastic receiver core. Cole Kmet's got to learn how to run a route. Honest to God, and this is the problem with high expectations this year for the Bears. You have a head coach that runs 1,000 pages of offense legitimately, and they know like a quarter of the book. So the problem that the Bears are having is Caleb is wildly inaccurate. And like part of his inaccuracy is like you have Cole Kmet running a seam route that is supposed to be broken off in front of a Roma Dunze, what I like to call a little fade, where he's running between the sideline and the number, and he's supposed to fade to the hash, right, to get a ball here. Well, the problem is Cole Kmet doesn't break that route off. So what happens? The defender for Cole Kmet is now playing center field. So Caleb's got to throw the ball here. And so it's on the wrong side and it's incomplete.
Yep.
Now, does he miss more wide open against the Vikings to win the game? Yes, he did. Does the interception go 12 yards too far down the field and that's why it's intercepted? Yes. Did Colston Loveland, now we know Colston Loveland simply has not studied the playbook, which is one of the worst revelations if you're a Bears fan. Your highly drafted tight end does not know the route trees.
They're just saying he's just not learning it.
He does not at this time have enough understanding of the route trees to get 40 reps a game.
Damn.
All that, and apparently the routes he does know are the ins because it's the easiest route in football, right? It's a drag route where you line up in the slot and all you are supposed to do, and with the Bears, actually, the tight end lines up on the outside, Rome lines up on the inside, and you are just supposed to run a crossing in route. Colston Loveland is supposed to go up in and go past the center. But what did Colston Loveland do 2 weeks in a row, which is why I think his reps are being limited? He stopped at the guard, which is a stop route where you go in, turn, stop at the guard, catch the football. Well, what did that do? That let his linebacker who was covering him in man coverage against Detroit sit down and deflect a ball that almost got intercepted because he didn't go far enough. He stopped at the guard instead of passing the center. And then what did Cole Kmet do two reps later? 3rd and 3. Same exact route. Cole Kmet stopped and turned. Roma Dunze is running an in route. So Caleb can't. The ball is supposed to be right here on frame, fall forward, first down. Well, now you can't throw it inside like that. So you have Roma Dunze going this way and the ball is thrown behind him. So is Caleb wildly inaccurate? To a certain extent. Can he throw the ball inside? No, because if he throws it inside, it gets picked. And then what do we say? The guy sucks. The offense is a little too complex, in my opinion. They haven't had time to learn it. And I think when you look at a defense as aggressive as Minnesota and Detroit, it's going to be very difficult when you don't know the playbook.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to be almost impossible when we begin to look at what is it going to take and how are the Bears going to get better. It's going to just take time. Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback. He's got systematic problems. And I thought Dominic Foxworth at ESPN made a fantastic point. If this was Caleb's rookie year, it's not. What would we be saying? He's amazing. Problem is, it's not. This is his third set of language in offenses in 2 years. And now he's finally, because the shit that he said after last year, and I agree with this as well, Ryan Clark was saying some stuff about Caleb Williams made a mistake talking about what happened behind closed doors last year. And I think it burned some of his teammates. And he learned a tough lesson. So what is Caleb Williams doing now? Not talking about anything. But what do we know is happening with Caleb? Because we're watching it. The offensive coordinator and the head coach are in his ass every time he makes a mistake. You can see the offensive coordinator last weekend against Detroit slam his hand on the counter when he was sending the play in. And it's like, you cannot continue to not snap the football so you get a false start. Because that's what some of the false starts have been. The snap count was not properly communicated. The blown coverages, the blown protections, I have no idea. But you have one of the best blocking running backs, and then I'm going to get off the Bears because you guys don't give a rat's ass. But you have one of the best blocking running backs in DeAndre Swift. It is inexcusable that Caleb Williams doesn't move him from his right hip to his left hip. And then they don't communicate the change. That happened twice against Minnesota and once against Detroit. That's the quarterback's fault. I totally understand that. The BS on the route. How is Roma Dunze in the wrong place and yet he still catches a touchdown? This was a revelation as well. Roma Dunze catches a ball down the sideline that's meant to be between the number and the hash, and he catches because Caleb sees him and he throws it to where he's going.
Yeah, and they have a relationship.
And you get away with that, right? But DJ Moore, he's missed DJ Moore, I don't know how many times.
Yeah, a bunch of times.
On go routes. At least three. But it is what it is. All right, real quick, non-sports story of the day, because Jake is going to get not married over this. How much money can you spend without telling your spouse? I asked Jake this in the vaunted pre-show meeting. He said, then none. I can spend what I want. No, you can't. No, you can't.
The verbiage was, how much money can you spend without getting permission? And I said, I don't need permission to spend money, right? But obviously, there's a relationship. Obviously, you're not just going to go and, buy whatever example you want to use, without talking about it. And, like part of the reason, like when I get things, I don't want to just be the only one that's excited about it, like I want to share the stuff that I get, and like have it be exciting overall, like that's one of the things I enjoy in life. So, I mean, I think it's, I would say it's really not a permission thing. I think it's more just like a common sense thing, honestly. Like if it's, I mean, a dollar figure is kind of hard, honestly, but like I would say if you're probably like, I mean, I would say anything over like $500-600 that because I'm just trying to think of things that I'd buy for myself that are like $500-600 or $1,000. And the only thing that would be like, I don't know, stuff for a car, maybe some golf clubs. I don't know, like a trip or something. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't feel like there's a lot of that stuff right now for me.
I think that when I look at communicating money, when you have money, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't know what my wife could buy that I'd be like, what are you doing? Because there's also a level of trust that comes in with money in a relationship. I am fortunate in that I am not the penny pinching guy. Like it just does not. I spend more on basic Amazon household stuff than anything else. Right. But if I wanted to go buy a new golf club, I don't think my wife would I don't think she would say anything.
Yeah.
Now, if I came home with, you know what she would say something about if I bought another pair of shoes? I think my wife would probably.
See, that's a really good example because that's not the dollar figure issue. That's a premise issue.
I have too many shoes, and I don't. The last thing I need is a new pair of shoes.
Right.
Wow, no kidding. My guy Barry says he has $100 limit that him and his wife have an agreement. Barry's also a gambling degenerate.
Yeah,
and that's a different thing. Like my wife and I had friends of ours that like had locks on their nightstand, and they had a drawer where it was off limits to their significant dude. If that's what you're doing, you're not in the relationship.
Right.
Like, so I think healthy relationships, permission's not the word. If I'm going to go buy a new car, I'm going to tell my wife I'm going to buy a new car.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, you would never just roll up with a new car. Unless it's a, unless you got that kind of money where that's like a gift, you would never just roll up in a new car.
Yeah. Marty dropped $100K on an X4M without telling Mrs. Marsh. She made the decision.
That's not true at all, dude. Yeah.
I was more of a no than a yes, and she's like, and then we called our accountant, and it
Yeah. I think that this conversation, the easy button on this conversation is like, oh, well, what's the dollar amount? I think the real balls of it is like, how do you have it set up? Right. Like I'm a big believer in there's always been the great debate of like, well, okay, well, how do you do accounts? And like, when do you ever pool your money? And I've always been a big believer. Hey, like you have your account, I have my account. And then we've got an account that we share for bills and, like household stuff. And I think that if you have a good relationship with like your significant other and you are just transparent about money, like it just doesn't need to be a big deal,
Yeah,
but
I'm not a guy. I think when you're married, if you have separate bank accounts, I'm not a huge fan of that. I am a big believer that I also think it depends on who's making mone.
Right.
If you're a single income family, that you got to have conversations about that.
Right.
If you're both making six figures and your money's good and you don't have debt, and I think that's,
yeah,
that's a thing. But this is you're exactly right when you say permission. Do I have to have permission? Y'all are rich. I'm canceling my membership. No, we're not rich. I read that one already. There's a point when your spending will reflect selfishness. It's not an amount, it's a percentage. Well, that could be. Anything over 100 is always a good idea to at least discuss. Obviously, you don't need permission, but a discussion is nice. And we spent, what the funny thing is? Our biggest non-needed expenses are travel.
Yeah. But like, see, you're already talking about that because you travel together. Like that's just
we're going to London.
Yeah.
And I want to see Chelsea Football Club. I want to see a Chelsea match.
Yeah.
The tickets are $3,000.
God, for what?
So
how are they that much?
Because it is, well, you get hospitality, you get club seats. So I said,
it's like, okay.
I was like, we probably don't want to spend that much. And she's like, yeah, let's not spend that much.
Yeah.
So I spent half of that. Right. I spent $1,400 instead of $3,000. Like that's the kind of, but we talk about that stuff just as a way of doing business.
See, I think that's different than like, oh, well, I got to run it by the wife. Like that's not the same thing. Like that's just having a conversation about how you want to do something,
Yeah,
or
I
like
don't
how
think it's got to run it by the wife. I think if you're going to do something, am I going to buy a new set of golf clubs without quote running it by the wife? Probably not.
Yeah.
But that's $3,000 to $5,000, right? Like,
yeah, But I don't know now with the stuff that we're working on. I'm not even sure that would interest you. See, that's kind of what I'm getting at is like I'm literally sitting here thinking about like, man, dude, like what are things that would cost that much that I'd even be interested in buying? I just there's not a lot of those things right now. I mean, yeah, travel is the main one, but like,
I don't even know.
Yeah,
I'm
like
not
there's
even,
just not a
I'll
lot
be
of them.
honest with you guys. I'm like my side hustle right now is taking a lot of my money. I'm not even playing that much golf right now. Like,
yeah,
that I have a lot of work stuff going on in my life that, I think your life is these, I don't know, is it a season or an ebb and a flow?
Chapters.
I'm in a grind mode right now. Right? Like I'm trying to figure out my e-commerce grind. I'm like trying to figure out the show grind. I'm trying to figure like all this stuff. And the hard part is, yeah, do I have $100,000 BMW? Yes, I do. And I don't apologize for that. But I also make way more than enough money to afford it. Right? And my wife just sold her BMW because we don't need two cars. And I did not want to sell her BMW. She's the one who wanted to sell her BMW because she just doesn't drive. It was sitting in our garage, right? And so I sold it in literally 3 minutes. We listed that car. 3 minutes later, it was gone because we bought it right. Like, I mean, there's just ways things happen. Yeah. And I think when you grind your ass off the way that we do, things just happen. Like I've been married for, I guess this is 24 years now. Next year will be my 25th anniversary. You just know. I don't even have to think about it. Like I just bought a new mixer because my mixer broke. I did not ask permission. Right.
But again, that's business that you don't see again. Like that's a business expense that's not really, that's what I'm saying. This is not like, the more I really think about it, it's really not a dollar amount conversation. It really is more of a philosophical premise based conversation. Like,
yes.
And the thing, like I'm a huge believer that we as people know the things we like, we know what we can buy, we know what we should buy, and we know what we should not buy. And that's just what it is, man. And I think that it's really not a permission thing. It's not. It's really just a trust premise, not being an idiot thing, basically.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know that there would be amount. Trust is so huge. You shouldn't apologize for having money. But again, I think we guilt people in this country for being rich.
Yeah.
Right. And I think now in our society, there's such a double standard anymore with anything. Like with anything. It's somebody's always unhappy about something. Right. Over under on how many games Mike Gundy has left the rest of the season. The rest of the season. I never asked my ex-wife for permission to spend. I did whatever I wanted, and then we got divorced for some reason. There you go.
Pretty straightforward, dude.
I don't think it's a dollar amount. I would agree with that. Yeah. I don't think it's a dollar amount. I think it is a thing. But I can't think of a thing that
It's shoes. For sure, it's shoes.
I think it probably is shoes.
Yeah,
because I just don't have space. And I have probably 200 pairs of shoes, 100-something pairs of shoes. And she always rides me about not wearing all my shoes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So it's probably shoes. But I don't that or golf balls. It pisses her off when I buy golf balls. Oh my God.
Well, you do have a lot of golf balls.
I do. But like the yellow Kirkland is impossible to get.
Yeah.
So
unless you live in Eugene.
When TP5Xs, why do you get yellow Kirklands?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're at your Costco.
Costco.
Yeah. And when TP5X is on sale, I'm going to buy it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that shoes or golf balls, I think that's completely accurate. Yeah. All right. Always good, my friends. I appreciate the conversation. Big NFL day tomorrow. Again, I know you guys want to talk NFL, and we talked a very little bit about. I want to get into the Tom Brady thing tomorrow. I want to get into the tush push thing tomorrow. We got Thursday night football tomorrow. Go Cubs. Cubs are in the baseball playoffs, which is fantastic. They clinched today. The Monty Show is always presented by The Advocates at theadvocate.com. Until tomorrow, say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.